Hello. Oh, hello. And welcome to Twin Cities Playtest. What is Twin Cities Playtest Lane?
Twin Cities Playtest is where we harvest the cream of all the local game makers and also game makers across the country. People come here to get some playtesting done on games that they're working on and to talk about design decisions that they have made or are making now. And right now we have a bumper crop of pretty interesting games coming out because, of course, Ludum Dare 50 just happened. And I know everybody brought their A game to that. We have tonight, the first game is going to be one of those games from Evan, and we may end up closing out the day with my own Ludum Dare 50 project.
Okay. So let's toss it to one of our guests. Hey, Evan, will you please define what Ludum Dare means and critique Lane's pronunciation?
Oh God, define Ludum Dare.
Yes, please. Enlighten us.
I have no idea, honestly. I think it actually means something, but to me it's a bi-yearly game jam that I participate in every so often, and that's how I actually met Lane. So it's a really fun event that is probably the largest, if not top 2.
It is,
game
as
jam.
far as I know, the biggest of its sort, which is like a competitive, but like not. There's no money on the line, so it's like
okay.
the biggest. Yeah, it's like the biggest friendly competitive one out there.
But it was actually it's really funny. I looked at the numbers, and there were 1,000 less submissions this year than last year, and I'm guessing COVID might have something to do with that. But
Yeah. That's been something that's been kind of tragic, which is like across the board. Like a lot of people I'm talking to have found that like online events have gotten smaller and smaller. Now maybe this one is shrinking down a little bit because people are going and doing more like in-person stuff nowadays. But hard to say.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say.
Correct.
This was 50.
So that means it's been going for. Oh.
Evan, did you see them do anything special for this? I certainly didn't.
Not really.
Oh, wait. They added.
New,
Yes. Yeah. No, please tell us about that.
They introduced a new type of participation, I guess, called extra, which is completely sort of or less competitive than it was already, I guess. So there's no real kind of voting for that round, and you get 3 weeks. So the time that it would take you to make the game and vote for the other sections.
Right.
So tomorrow is when results come out, and that's when your extra game is due by.
So it's like extra time, not like.
Yeah.
I participated as like a background character.
Yeah,
I mean, they kind of are. They kind of are. They are the NPCs because they are not going to be competing with us.
Yeah, you don't get. I wonder if you can vote for other people's games, because that's a thing. Because if you haven't participated, you can't rate other people's games. So I wonder if you can if you do an extra game.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And then obviously there's the compo, which is the single person doing everything, which is just, I think, almost why Ludum Dare is possible, or Ludum Dare. However, I'm still not sure how to say it.
I told you to trick Lane, and
I can't.
Admit you don't know how to say it.
I have no idea.
All right, so I'm gonna bring forward the controversy here. So this is not a question without a defined answer. It is Ludum Dare. However, the only thing that you have to thread when you decide how to pronounce it is, will that sound too pretentious to the people you're talking to? I have waffled between Ludum Dare and Ludum Dare depending on the audience.
Interesting.
It means bring forth the game.
There you go.
Oh. Well, with that said, shall we bring forth the game?
Oh my, masterful, Bill. Oh. All right, yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so Joel, you are online. Say hello.
Hey guys.
Okay,
What's
and
up?
you're going to be playing Evan's game, and I'm going to be stepping in the other room so I can give some additional first look feedback so I don't see you play.
So, which game is first then?
It is Department of Demise.
All right, load that up. And we're okay with just controller input, or do we need mouse and keyboard?
I would do mouse and keyboard.
All right, let me
Okay.
grant.
It is a more
Yep.
UI management style. So.
Cool. Should the sound choppy like that?
No.
Are you hearing that too?
I hear it through your mic a little bit.
Oh, that's not bad. Let me. I'll switch to headphones real quick, for the sake of.
Yeah, we're hearing that buzzing sound, which is sort of the menu noise, but we're hearing extra of it every so often when Discord thinks it's somebody talking.
Okay, I'm back. All right. Where's single client clock? Department of Demise. Interesting. So we have some arcane instructions here. Missions after each series of entries. Kind of getting a like what was that game that was like Hypnonauts or something, like the game where it looked like 90s internet sites.
We wouldn't know anything about that here.
Okay.
That's Hypnospace Outlaw.
Yes.
Which
yes.
I'm working on the sequel to that game,
Oh, no way. Cool.
which was just announced a couple weeks ago. It's
How
funny you
exciting.
mention it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yep.
Okay, plus button to add time, minus button to subtract.
So Evan, as a throwback to our previous stream, you brought on Alexa last time. She did some of the sound stuff. Did she actually do the composition for this? Because I noticed
Yeah.
like the music throughout this is very impressive.
So it's a lot of the same team as my last. The only change really is a new artist. So this is an artist I've worked with previously on a bunch of game jams. So no more pixel art, as you can tell.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that really drew me in with this game, was just how impressive the menu was. Largely because of that music. The mood is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I tried to get Alexa to come back with me, but she's actually in class right now, so we missed out on that. And then it's essentially the whole same like sound team, and then obviously myself. So.
What's funny is that the art style and the music reminds me of, and this is what I thought you were referring to, is Psychonauts, that Tim Schafer game that the sequel just came out. That it has that kind of Brazil kind of vibe, you know?
Oh, yeah. You mean like Terry Pratchett's movie? Brazil. Okay, I'm still getting crazy buzzing sounds, but I'll just forge ahead, I guess.
It actually sounds okay on this stream, so...
Okay, cool.
Sorry for, maybe it's parsec, right?
Is the sound super essential for me to understand what's going on?
No, it's just, it adds, right? But
Yeah.
it's not mandatory per se.
So I'm using A and D instead of plus and minus, I assume. Like,
yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm just not gonna say anything. I want to watch. I want to watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just drawn to the highlighted stuff, obviously. So
yeah.
Kind of reading around it a bit, but I'm assuming that's what's important. Cool. I'll just go ahead and jump in then.
Good morning, Reapers. We have a new recruit joining us today here in Demise, so let's all give a nice cold DOD welcome. For our new junior associate Reaper, here in the Department of Demise, we take pride in ushering humans to their ultimate fate, on time and under budget. Just use the dongle and your remote control unit to add and subtract days to and from the lives of the humans on your roster, according to the prompts that come in. When a human's time does arrive, be sure to grab your scythe and dispatch a Reaper in a timely manner, and a new human will replace them in your roster. Humans aren't terribly bright, so this line of work can get a little hectic. Try to keep up, and good luck.
Nice. James drove home turned the stove. Alex finished a 2-liter of Coke. Alex got back into smoking. Uh-oh. So is this the dongle? Okay.
While we're young, Ernesto...
I've got a newer MacBook, so I have 1,000 dongles in front of me. Alex rode their bike to work. Uh-oh, what did I do?
Dude, I love how one ride to work is worth starting smoking twice.
Traffic is crazy, you know. I went to the beach. James went to the beach. So plus is like extending your life, I guess.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Okay. What are these little mugs here? I'm not understanding that.
Boss man says there's a promotion in my future, so don't bone me, kid.
Alex did the Tide Pod challenge.
Okay, seems like those mugs are going away at the end of each round.
Yeah.
You lasted 0 rounds.
You lasted 0 rounds. Well, cool. I didn't really understand what was going on yet, but glad I made it 0.
I'm purposely trying not to say anything to watch you. So
I know it must be torture.
No.
I think give it another try because I think.
Go again.
And Lane and I can sort of maybe help because I'm also having difficulty deciphering it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been in this exact situation with people that have tested my game, and it's like you want to say something, but it's better to not.
So when it lists those things, are you meant to then subtract that from their count, or is that happening?
Yeah, I mean we've got that plus and minus thing in front of us, right? Like,
there are 2 characters represented on the list here, but then when the submit button runs out, then
if you go faster, that would be great.
One of the mugs breaks. Wait, what does the mug represent?
well, when we lost the last mug last time around, we just died. It was game over. So that's got to be our like HP is my guess.
Right. And
I wish I'd read more.
When it says submit question mark, what do you have to submit, and what's the button for that?
It looks like we can just click it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try.
So like I would think.
It's also
and then,
spacebar if you want to.
When I was in this cubicle, I had 11 clocks on the wall and shined them
that's
every
good
day.
to know.
It's also what?
These kids are marshmallows.
Spacebar to submit instead of like having to click it.
Alright, I feel like we're right on the cusp of this. So it tells us plus minus, and we have this plus minus thing in front of us. Like when Ben pops up here, could we try plugging into Ben and then hitting -2?
Yeah.
On the...
hit -7 times.
There we go.
Yeah, okay.
And then I guess hit submit? No.
I didn't like that. Gilgamesh.
So -2 there, then Huey -3, and that's it, I guess.
Are more gonna come up?
I wonder if that timer on the left side is telling us. Anyway, yeah, go ahead, hit submit.
Oh, okay.
It'll auto submit if you run out of time. It's not
I'm
not
Someone's clock hit 0.
Yeah.
Oh, our thing is red. Can you move it now?
No, cannot.
Okay.
Can we like reap that dude on the left? They're dead,
actually,
right?
They're all dead, yeah. Except for Ben. Gilgamesh participated in Ludum Dare.
Free that. That's it.
3 life points. Ben had a nasty breakup. Is this happening in real time, or is this just like this is the entire scope of this round?
You know, you've got a knack
It looks
for
like that
making
is the
simple
scope
things
of
look
that round. Like, it looks like we
really
can
difficult.
continue getting more as long as there's that timer on the left, and then when that's done, we don't get it anymore.
Right. Frozen. There we go.
Okay. So we must have to do something to, like, unlock that. Like, it turning red is a big sign to me that, like, there's something stopping us. It's probably those dead people.
Yeah, like
Which
you're supposed to use
dongle
this.
turning red?
You're supposed to use the scythe when the character's counter gets to 0. But I don't know what that means. Do you then use the scythe on that person's clock, or?
Maybe.
Oh, well, they're not dead yet, though.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna... Jang is gonna die pretty soon here.
Okay. So really, you're just meant to do these instructions and then wait for the submit to count down.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that means surviving a round.
And I can just skip to the submit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to wait for it. Yeah.
Okay. So
We
there's a
were
little-
thinking about trying to add some benefit to submitting early.
I got a meeting in 5.
And so
If I
now
don't have my
that-
caffeine, someone's
that,
clock hits 0.
Jiang
and
is dead,
schedule if you catch my drift.
Take the scythe and click that icon, I think. There you go. And then you get a new human.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
And I forget if I clicked Eleanor's or gave Eleanor her points.
Oh, we got it! We got there! Yes!
Okay, cool.
Good job.
This feels so like administrative. It's like frustrating, but so compelling as well. Let's see, -4 for.
But then +1, yeah. I wonder if you could just shortcut it with a nice -3.
Yeah,
right.
Do you have to do the whole thing?
I'm
Yeah,
nervous.
you can totally just count it out and do whatever the
Oh,
outcome.
the sum.
Yeah, the sum.
Okay.
Cool. That's for the old veterans of the Department of Demise.
Yeah.
Count it out.
It gets hard.
Please tell me that you don't do any, like, ×3
Yeah,
or anything like that.
you could go faster.
Oh no!
No,
oh no!
not-
Oh no!
Not yet. We were really thinking about doing one that's like hard. It ended up being too hard for like how quick I made it. But we were considering doing like types of
Careful
events.
that you don't
And
work
so
yourself to
then you
death.
could have
Eh?
a negate of
Eh?
those things. So like
But
negate
also pick up the
exercise
pace.
or something. And so you have to like look back through the list and like find the exercise ones. And like, yeah, it was too much.
I'm guessing it was really fun to sit and think of all
you've
these
got a
events.
knack
Just
for
because that's
making simple
completely.
things look
I actually set it up with a Google Sheet, so it's actually pulling a CSV file right now, like when you start the game up. So if you want, I can add whatever you want right now.
No way.
I can add your names too. I put those in there. So you would have to restart the game, I guess, for it to come through. But
And I've already.
that was like a fun thing to set up. That like I feel like I didn't promote well enough on my page, so like nobody filled out the form. But well, because I didn't want to just give free rate to a spreadsheet that is required for my game to start up.
Ooh, yeah.
So I made like a Google form and like copied it in manually right now.
Does it just speed up over time?
Yeah. As you saw previously, that screen scrolls to the right.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay. I think I just killed 3 people. That's what I want.
Oh, that makes things easy this round. That's good. You just have Paul and Kumiko.
I'm glad someone's keeping track of this.
So in the update that I'm working on, I did like make those strikeouts do the whole line. because like I think it was.
Well, we're young,
confusing
Ernesto. Wait, which one are you?
But like there's some bug that I like legitimately can't figure out, and I think it's a Unity bug. Honestly, it's like the integer 13 does not equal another integer 13, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's like the comparison for the numbers on the clock, like to verify if you're right at the end of a round. For some reason, it just isn't working anymore.
Starting to get heated. I've lost
When I
track.
was in this cubicle, I had 11 clocks on the wall and shined them every day.
These kids now that we will all know how to play.
Risked it and pet the local coyote. I also love the voiceovers. I've got the game like muted right now while I'm watching the YouTube, but like, man, they're good. Did you do the voice?
I did not do any voice in this one. That's Jeremy and Alexa doing the voice acting.
Oh, wonderful.
That's so cool.
You can probably sort of tell if maybe you can't because like maybe you haven't heard her voice as often as I have, but Alexa is also like all the modulated voices is also her, obviously. But it's obvious you can like really tell that it's like you can't. I don't know. Maybe you can't tell it's her. I don't know. I like Ken because I like have talked to her a ton of times like recently.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, it's all really well done. You got a talented team. Should we bring on Dale?
Yeah, let's do.
Sure.
10's pretty good. I think the highest I was able to get to was like 20, and it just gets so fast.
It looks like it just gets overloading, just hectic.
Yeah, we were having trouble balancing because we really wanted it to be slow at first, because like I can't, I guess I could, but I don't want to throw people to the wolves per se, right? Throw people to the local coyote, I guess.
Yeah. I guess like this is always a struggle, particularly for like a game jam game, and a competitive one at that, where you want people's first experience to be really good. Like my game, I am sure is gonna get some downvotes because it's just really really hard. we made it for people who for their like third or fourth playthrough. I guess you could start like allowing people to start on like level 4, level 5 if they've shown their stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but it was like, I don't know, not enough time to worry about it. Almost,
you don't prioritize that for a jam, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, everybody, we were like, while we were building it, I was like throwing a build out every, 6 hours or whatever, right? And, every time they were like, oh, you need to make it easier, you need to slow it down. And I'm like, really? I'm like, it's so easy. What do you mean? Like, and I'm like, wait, I'm the only one who's played this over 15 times, or like.
Yeah.
So.
No, in post mission build, I have like buffed the player character like 15 separate times and nerfed the like 5 times.
Funny.
For mine. It's just amazing how bad devs are when they design for themselves. Hey, Dale.
I'm back. Does that mean that? Oh, it looks like I can play now.
Yeah.
So this is my first impression. So we're gonna just hit play. Ooh, okay, there's lots of stuff on my desk. I probably want. Nope, that doesn't do anything. This.
Can she hear it? Or no?
Whoa. I guess you can't reap those people yet.
No, I kind of paused everything during the little intro speech.
What is this? Oh, prompts.
Time does arrive. Be sure to grab your scythe and dispatch a reaper in a timely manner, and a new human will replace them in your roster. Humans aren't terribly bright, so this line of work can get a little hectic. Try to keep up, and good luck.
So Dale, do you have any idea what to do?
I gotta kill this guy. I don't know what that. Whoa, what's that thing? Ooh. it, yes. Let's break their thumb. Yeah. Oh, Wilbur run on vacation. Okay, Bruce. I'm putting that thing there. I don't know what this is. It. 3 times in a week?
Implying that that's a lot.
Oh.
I do not understand what happened. I lasted 0 rounds. Okay, let's go.
Spectacular.
That might have been longer than my first
That
one.
seems okay.
So the other thing I
vegetable-
did, Lane, is I only make it harder if you pass the round, which I think was.
Oh, that is smart. I like that a lot.
I think it
Ooh,
was.
they're chicken rare.
It's like fine for overall, but I think it's bad for like getting through to like a harder
That's
level.
okay.
You know.
Your stomach's not gonna explode.
Yeah, but by the time that really matters, you'll know what to do enough to get through those early
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah. Probably.
Search for an illness. Okay, that seems normal to me. No.
With ours, we made what in retrospect might be a mistake of like putting in competitive elements in ours right away. Ours has a leaderboard, so everything had to be made with some amount of like
Snake.
competitive fairness in mind,
That thing.
which
yes,
means there's
that-
so many fewer like illusions that we can do to make the game easier.
Careful that you don't
Yeah.
work yourself to death. Huh? Huh?
Yeah, you think
But,
you are
also, pick
starting to
up your pace,
understand it?
okay?
I do not understand it at all.
Okay. What's funny is that when you start the game, you get the tutorial section, but you don't have it here.
Yeah.
Nope, we're just
Yeah,
gonna. Okay.
Maybe I need to.
Shaman ordered the
restart
chicken
the
rare
game.
minus. Ugh, I don't know how to do that. You do know how to.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I
Okay.
mean, when people die, that is at their point where they are at their peak curious of how the game works. The tutorial is actually more effective than
Yeah.
before the game.
Yeah, this happens with board games a lot, where like you read all the instructions for a board game, and you feel like you got it, and then you start, and you don't know how any of it makes any sense.
It means nothing to you before you actually see it in
Yeah,
context.
it's the order in which you learn things is it needs to be like well understood, and so it seems as though you should like flailing around it that first time. It does make you'll be able to absorb the instructions better.
Yes.
But really, what you want is you want a playable
You've done the
tutorial.
thing. You've done it before.
Without any kidneys? You're dead. Submit, yes.
Boss man says there's a promotion in my
Penny
future.
G.
Oh,
Minus
she got lucky
2.
on that one.
Oh, this is kind of cute. You could just like let
Okay.
people stay dead to simplify things, and only have to operate on one person.
But
You
the
can-
game it only lets you
Okay.
interact with the
Yeah,
one that you're in there. So you can get lucky and that
Nope.
happens.
For
But
making simple things
I also,
That's
if you let everybody die, that's a lose condition. Most
Yeah.
people have never seen that, but
Oh,
well, in the case of what Dale just had is Dale had 2 people dead and 1 person not, but the instructions only
locked.
apply to the dead
Yeah, yeah.
people. So technically, she should have passed that round based on the rules, but she didn't because she like left it locked. But if you were to actually follow the rules to the letter, she should have passed that round.
1, 2.
yeah, maybe I have a bug because she hit the buttons on that dead person.
Yeah, could be.
I'm not checking if they're dead when I do the like round check.
That's one on a bag of dirt. Minus 1. Once you see Mobius. Paul meditated after work. Okay, good job. Dima minus 1. Okay.
are you planning on
I
keeping
don't
these
understand
references up to date? I feel like Morbius is going to be dated like as of the end of this stream.
I don't even know what that is. What I think Alexa wrote that one.
Minus 4. Chara got Rick rolled. Minus 2 for Rick rolling.
I'm
Wow,
already,
Barber's had a bad day.
I'm already too old for most of the
Meditated
references
afterwards.
that
Good
Alexa
job.
put in.
Something's wrong. Oh no, that's bad.
So Dale, you can't move that dongle when somebody is dead. If the game wants you to do something else.
Every day.
Oh.
These kids are marshmallows.
Okay. So.
Are you submitting like really fast?
-2. Yes. James missed another credit card payment. -2. Egbert.
Oh, it actually clicked down 3, but they only pressed twice.
That would be great.
1, 2, 3, 4. And there's +2. True and rare. Oh, nope, Egbert. I don't know what's going on. -2.
Yeah, it's registering an extra click every time.
Hmm.
I think it's because Dale's using the mouse, and maybe you only ever tested with people using the keyboard.
No, I tested the mouse. I use the mouse when I play.
Okay.
Vinny, okay. Minus. Nope, that's plus.
Yeah, is Dale playing this directly or over Parsec?
Over Parsec.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, nope.
That is a bad week for that guy.
Not hammered down. I mean, like, yeah. Okay, we'll submit. Did a face mask. Okay, +2.
Are the clocks moving faster the closer they are to dying?
No, not at all.
Yeah, do the clocks matter at all? Like, Anthony's been on one for a long time.
The number matters, but the speed of the hands has nothing to do with anything. It is just it picks a random speed and a random starting location.
So Dale, you now need to do something to clear those dead icons.
Oh, I need to this thing. Woo! Okay.
I'm like half 2 seconds behind, so I knew as soon as she made the ghost sound.
Yeah,
I knew.
Okay, I do not understand what I'm supposed to be doing, but I do want to submit things randomly. Oh, okay.
So the only thing I think you're doing, wrong per se is I feel like you're trying to submit after every line rather than during a round.
Ah, yes. True. Plus. Oops, wrong one.
I would say my feedback on it is that what is around and when do you submit, and I think that it's not totally clear based only on the sort of UI UX of it. You kind of have to figure out how it works through trial and error. I feel like it's the only way you can learn how to play, and so I think there's a like even when you press plus and minus. There's a huge amount of screen space between the numbers on the clocks and the plus and minus buttons that animate. There's no real, you can't really see the connection between those things. Even though it's like, well, of course, what else would it do? Your mind doesn't keep track of it as well,
Yeah, I was thinking someone suggested adding like a green and red. Or like a sum of the round to it, instead of the total number, because nobody knows what the number was at the start of the round unless you're like really paying attention, right?
Yeah.
So, them all being 0 per se, and then showing the sum that you've pressed on them for the round might be kind of better.
Difficult.
I've also since added 1 through 5 hotkeys, but because of that bug, I didn't want to send that build with the numbers not adding up, so you just fail rounds essentially randomly.
Careful that you don't
I figured that wouldn't be very fun. But I added 1 through 5 hotkeys and then shift 1 through 5 for the scythe.
Yeah.
Which makes it like a little easier to play quickly.
Right.
And I don't know if I like that per se. I do like the A and D hotkeys. But I don't know. I feel like part of the game is dragging the controller or like.
Yeah, it feels like this would be a good mobile game because it's physical, right?
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be part of the challenge. So the easier you make it, the more it just becomes an optimized experience, and that's not what you want.
Exactly. So
yeah.
I like debated with that one, but I also was trying to make the plug drag and drop better, and because I failed at that a little bit the other day, I was just like, screw it, put the 1 through 5s in. Because it's definitely not perfect, the drag and drop, right? Like there's you know, sometimes you'll hit an edge like right there. Like she tried to drag it to Rebecca, but it was like overlapping the
Yeah.
what is it, Anka? What does that say? I don't even know what the names are in my game. We just had a spreadsheet and had people fill in names. So.
Yeah, there's still a dead person.
Juno's my dog, so don't hit
Aw.
my dog.
One of the things I noticed is like if you get off by 1 early on, you don't really know it.
Yeah, I think that the other sum number helps that definitely. And
Yeah.
you can, like, check the work, right? So.
Right, because
that's
it, like you follow all the instructions and you realize you're 2 off, but you don't know where. That's still an interesting challenge. Like which one did I screw up? And then you know, time is counting down and you're frantically checking, +1 here, -1 there. When you make a mistake, but at least gives you some agency when you screw up.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking is having like a light next to the like submit button that just tells you if you're right or not.
Yeah.
But that seemed a little too much almost. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like having it tell you if you're right?
I think this is a case where the theming is going to have to give you the answer. Like what does a round represent? You know what I mean? Like, mechanically it makes sense, but like, why are these 7 instructions part of 1 round? Like, what makes that? You know what I mean? If you come with like a narrative reason for that, then you could probably better come up with how you would mechanically present that to the player in terms of the feedback, whether they're doing well or not. If you're just thinking of it like how can the player get the right answer, there's like 30 ways to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're not trying to give them.
Scythe. Sorry, go ahead, Mark. I thought you were done.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, you can, you know, you can try to, how do I make this easier for the player to figure out? But you still want, really what you want to do is, how do I make the challenge the right amount of challenge? And so just coming up with, like, ways to make it easier or harder is probably not going to get you to the answer you want.
Someone's clock
That's
hits
fair.
0 ahead of
Look, I
schedule if you
lasted
catch
11
me.
rounds.
That's pretty good. You get the employee award if you last over 10 rounds.
Yay! They honored me. Okay.
We were like even thinking of having like I forget what it's called in like what's it called? Keep talking and nobody explodes. They have like persistent modules that you have to like keep going back to.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about trying to do something like along those lines where you have some sort of, I don't know, like a coffee machine or something like that, you know, that you would have to keep going back to, and that would be your round per se. So it's like making your own rounds at that point, right? Because you have to go back to like another screen, or I don't know yet, but.
Again.
Do these characters, do they like influence the events that can happen to them at all?
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
We had like plans to do like different sections of things or whatever, right? But no, not enough time per se.
Not enough. Okay. Yeah, because I kind of wonder like I mean that would definitely be like more of a learning curve thing, but it would be like oh I've got a Chris. Ooh, a Chris. Okay, I know what's gonna happen with that guy.
That would be funny if like you knew someone was only gonna have bad luck per se, or
yeah. The other thing is, I just watched Dale in the last round do the thing that seemed so wrong to me, which was needing to pick up a scythe 3 separate times to kill 3 separate people. Isn't a scythe the weapon that you would expect could cleave?
That's fair. I mean, fair enough. I'll maybe we'll do that. I like that. Right. Oh, I'm gonna write that down even because I'll totally forget.
Yes.
Scythe to cleave.
I was in this
That's
cube.
that's pretty cool. I even
Not
actually
a
have like a
question.
little
Shine them
animation that I
every
didn't get to
day.
put in.
These
Not
kids
an
are
animation, but just
marshmallows.
like a VFX, like for the
Oh.
site swing, you know. type of
Goodness.
thing.
Yes.
So if I put that like over the whole set of 5, I think that
Careful
would be
that you
good.
don't.
Yeah.
work
Speaking of
yourself
VFX
to
stuff,
death.
how
Eh?
I mean, what sort of like
So,
tutorialization
thanks.
or signposting stuff do you already have in mind? I don't want to be redundant with stuff you're already thinking about.
So to help like people learn, you mean? So I started doing some animations to go along with that intro
Yeah.
sequence to like almost play the game for you while that line goes. We were thinking about even doing something interactive, so I asked Jeremy to split those voice lines up into like prompts almost and wait for the player to do the thing. So we'll see. I haven't really decided what I like better. I mean, me just moving the pieces is way easier than setting up. Yeah, so I'll probably start with that, and then, you know, if I can get something nice working. I think just moving the pieces along with that tutorial, I think, would go a long way.
I don't know if Mark has experience that clashes with this, but I think that tutorials that sort of limit users' control is just asking for a million bugs. Like, it literally clashes with basically everything else that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to atomize tutorials to say like, do this, and then the player does it, and then you're like, good job, and then you have to move on. You know, I don't know if like just playing it like a movie. They're not gonna digest it as easily.
Okay, so you think it should be a interactive tutorial essentially? Is what
I think so. I'm not sure if that's what you were asking about, Lane, but I think like
I thought Lane said the opposite. That's why I'm
I did, and this is why I asked Mark for his opinion, because he's worked on different kinds of games for me. I would definitely say that like the interactive tutorials, I mean, the price that you pay for having them is that like you have to release control, and like it can introduce a lot of like interface bugs, because sometimes your interface works one way, sometimes your interface works another way.
Right,
Honestly,
right. It's a development challenge, right?
It is.
To like, but you know, the thing about a tutorial is that it's going to be kind of the spaghettiest code you have, because because it's a very specific use case, and it's not, you know, you can design all of your systems to turn on and off for tutorial sections, but because you only have one tutorial section, you're probably not going to want to over-engineer all of your mechanics to be tutorial.
I was going to make a separate scene or, you know, set of objects, right, for the tutorial, and just delete them when the tutorial's done, like just to not screw up my game code that's probably already, you know, iffy from being a Ludum Dare.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea how this is put together, but you could certainly like a tutorial where there's only one person, and then there's one instruction, and you disable the minus button, and then you turn the timer off, and then you just wait until the player does the thing, and you just have a signal or something.
That's what I was thinking, and just having, like, just to go along with that, like the voice, you know, I wasn't gonna, you know, have any other interaction on screen per se, like, you know, I don't know, some games do like big arrows, like click here, like I wasn't gonna do that. But just the voice saying like, you know, drag the plug to, you know, interact with the player, and then.
Okay, so I have 2 questions.
All right.
/ 1 question. I lasted is rounds.
I got a meeting.
Cool.
Second
question.
Maybe a poor font choice. Fine. Okay.
Okay. This is a plug?
Yeah, it does not read super well. We were probably gonna redo that. It is supposed to be a plug.
You want a cord between these two devices.
Oh. I mean, it is like
that dangles
Infrared.
with physics.
We didn't. You spelled out why I didn't do that. But yeah, it
Definitely
really
keep
was
going.
like,
Work
okay, I don't feel
yourself
like
to
trying to
death.
make a chord
Yeah.
look nice
Yeah.
in 5 positions
But,
or
also,
whatever we
Uh-huh.
had at the time. Yeah, a chord's definitely an option. But yeah,
Or you
that
can
that
make it
got
look
cut.
more like a USB dongle.
Yeah, I think
Well,
changing
we're
it to
young,
read differently is
Ernesto.
definitely
Wait, which
on
one are
the
you?
docket here.
Because I was like, all right, I get to play a video game. And then I was like, this is a VR headset. And I was like, nope, this is not a VR headset. Why can't I pick up? And all I want to do is pick up this site while.
Yeah.
If I
could go
put like a
faster,
real
that would be
USB slot, I think that would read the best, just because people would automatically know what it is.
That's my guess. Also, okay, and then. Okay, so then this. Yeah, like. I'm guessing that will read pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's skip this. I'm gonna break
Boss
my
man
cup
says
of
there's a
coffee.
promotion in my future, so don't bone me, kid.
Movie.
Mm.
Yay! It's got a can in it. A+.
So here's a question: why is the plus on the left and the minus on the right?
Because that's the way the artist did it, and I've since flipped it. It is in the new version. It is flipped, but yeah, I didn't send you guys that because of that bug. So yeah, it has. We did get some comments on that. We did get some comments on not having like a 1 through 5 hotkey, which is why I added that.
Wait, what's a 1
And,
through 5 hotkey?
We actually got a couple comments on. Apparently, we have some of the text is too political, so we got comments on that.
Yeah, it definitely is. I was gonna ask if you're willing to like put up with like a million comments on that. I mean, at least people are like commenting, right?
I feel like a game like this, you have to have an opinion about these things. Otherwise, there's no satire in it. So you get people complaining, but don't listen to that.
We only got 2 comments about it per se.
Yeah,
so.
some avid Kenny G fans and people that love Facebook.
Yeah, that was the ones I meant. Yeah.
Actually, that's a funny one because Kenny G is well beloved in the world of memes these days. So I think you get a lot of complaints about that one. It used to be that Kenny G was everyone hated him, but.
The big one I want to complain about is the treat yourself is a positive, and yet every treat that I'm seeing is a negative.
Right. Yeah.
Right, another VFX thing that I wanted to bring up is like obviously there's just like a million like checklist things that you could do here, but like one thing that I think is pretty key is that like when you try to move the dongle around, when you try and move the plug, I think that you got to like shake the scythe. Potentially just have the scythe like be glowing whenever there's a dead person. Additionally, when you try to move the plug, I think that you have to like highlight the thing that's stopping the player from moving it. People here were not able to make the connection that the dead person was preventing them from moving the plug, and I think that is just like so key. You have to like shake that or make that glow that maybe the same color as the red plug.
All right, so okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Additionally, when dead people come on, and I'll say this even as a person who's played a couple rounds and now has watched this, it comes on in a single frame. I think that it should like do like a major like overshoot or something animation, just because it is like maybe one of the most impactful events that happens. Somebody dies. It immediately changes what you have to do, and so it just snapping on without any animation makes it harder to play the game.
So like.
So
when they die, like right there, like what just happened? I guess I'm
exactly
behind, but okay.
I would almost. The other thing that happens is that when the death icon appears, because all the colors are they're like 100% saturation for all the names.
Yeah,
when it turns into the dead icon, you suddenly can't really see it anymore. Like it ends up taking less attention than all the other.
Yeah.
And so what you want that to glow very brightly.
Yeah.
Or flash or something.
Oh, maybe like maybe we'll add some glow on the skull or something.
Because I think
that's good.
Or maybe the port lights up or shuts, or it needs to really get your attention, because I think what happens when like I don't see the motivation for locking the dongle when somebody dies. I see the mechanical reason for it, but I don't know what's the explanation for why that happens. And because mechanically it's so that the player needs to do it so they can complete the round. But what if it's just that you need to clear the dead ones to complete a round, but you don't lock the dongle. Let players do it in whatever order they want, but have them fail if they don't clear all the dead bodies, right? Or reap the ones who need them. Because locking the dongle, I feel like I don't understand why that's the case, other than to motivate the player to pick up the scythe,
Yeah, that was pretty much the idea, is to motivate them to use the scythe as soon as the death happens.
Yeah.
And I guess when the game is a little faster, because it comes randomly, it's not like you're sitting there waiting for somebody to die per se.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the idea. So you think if I do something, if I require all the deads to be cleared before the round ends instead, is your suggestion?
Yeah, because I think that that makes sense to me, and then you wouldn't have to prevent the player from dealing with the other instructions.
Yeah.
And if you have the dead icon really call attention to itself, then the player can't feel like it's not their fault that they didn't notice it.
I was in this cubicle.
I
had 11.
Yeah, that's
because I feel like you lock the dongle because people didn't notice that there was a dead body on the board, and I think that you can just solve that a different way by making it.
It's
really
not why I
obvious.
did it at first, but
Okay.
I totally see what you're saying. Like I did it because I thought it made it a little harder to like work your way around, right? But
yeah.
I see what you're saying though.
I mean, you can still. All I'm looking for is just a motivation for why it works that way, so that it makes sense to the player that it does. Because I think, and you can still, if you still want to lock the player from doing anything until they clear the dead bodies, you can do that. But I think it needs to be represented in a way that makes logical sense in the world of this person's day job.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have a question/comment, which is, you should have 3 end state. One is you get laid off, you get fired, like this one,
Which one
and
are
then
you?
you should have one in the middle that is just a playtest, or a paycheck. That says like you get to live another week or something. Pay to the order of you. 1 week more life. Thank you for your service.
Maybe you get paid in the souls that you collected.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my idea. That's all I got. So I did good, right?
You did above average, definitely.
I did need some help.
Careful that you don't. Yourself
I don't
to
think
death.
we gave you any more help than anybody else got, honestly.
Yeah, but I still didn't like. Maybe you need a button here that says,
show the tutorial and game over.
Voluntary department improvement meeting here, right? And so that if I'm like, shit, I don't know how to play, then I click on my voluntary department improvement meeting, and then I get the tutorial again, and I'm more.
I have show tutorial on game over in my notes now.
Mm-hmm.
This thing on the right side is very like in universe. It could also hypothetically, that space could be used for like a tip system or something. Just like tell people like game things that they might be missing.
Mm-hmm.
That's way too helpful.
That's like,
yeah, maybe that's just not in the mood of the game. I don't know.
Or like in the form of an email from the Grim Reaper that says,
"Oh, that's sick." Yes.
Blah blah blah.
I've been observing your time on the job, and it looks like you're failing in these ways.
I will say one of the things that the key thing I've noticed, and this is a small sample size, but our 2 playtesters figured it out in almost the exact same amount of time. One of them read the tutorial and one of them didn't.
That's kind of funny.
So I mean, you could actually lean into that, right? You could really, the game could throw you in with no instructions at all, and then part of the play is learning how it works piece by piece. And you need to support that with other mechanics and like tips on game over and things like that, and even more in-universe things. Like you fail 4 times in a row because you literally have no idea what to do. You can have a character, like say like I can't believe it was you didn't figure it out right away.
You want me to add Clippy?
What I'm saying is that there's multiple ways. The fact that the tutorial might not be as helpful as you'd hoped is something you can lean into rather than you can solve it in any direction, right? There's no one way.
Okay. Also, somebody has to explain to me what Morbius is.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a movie that flopped like last week, and so it's people are like it's gonna go down in history as one of the worst movies. But I think Lane, you were saying like we don't know that for sure. It might be forgotten in a week.
Boss man says there's a promotion in my future, so don't bone me, kid.
But no, that makes a lot of sense with the tutorial. I mean, it's not like I expected people necessarily to read the text that we wrote out, just because I feel like that's not how games work per se. It's not. So, and we definitely have like a lot of text on those first 2 screens. So
yeah, it's pretty common for jam games to just be like, there's no time to make a tutorial, so we're just gonna write this essay. It's 100% okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't want to do that in a shipping commercial product, but like, who would have the who would be so cruel as to give you a lot of crap for it in a jam game?
Yeah. So interactive tutorial is kind of what we were working towards.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably try to do that.
Yeah.
And then I'll take into account all the other feedback as well. I think I really like that cleave one. I like that one, Lane. That's a good helping me in universe per se.
Okay, can I ask another question that you may have covered already, which is, hey, what was the theme or prompt or whatever for the Ludum Dare 50?
It was delay the inevitable.
Ah!
That was a pretty good use of theme.
Yeah.
I get it! Okay, so another question. Okay, so down here there's these eyes, wait, where's my mouse? Down here below the add remove time and below the drag and drop, there's these eyes that keep opening. They're always there. What are they?
Oh, it's just flavor.
Okay.
Looks like a kitty cat.
Like a cat in your drawer, yeah.
I was going to say that actually.
It lines up with these first two. Yeah, it lines up with these first 2 mugs too well, actually. If you were a little bit to the further to the right, then it would feel more like flavor, but it seems like each eye represents these first 2 for some reason.
Oh no. Okay. There's also as the camera's zooming in, there's other reapers in the background, over the cubicles and stuff. Which I was considering zooming out the game a little more so you could see that, but then you're kind of too far away from the real game, so.
Okay, I am convinced that I no longer have control.
It's true. I took control away from you.
Oh well, you're doing badly.
There's no pause button. There's no way to exit the game.
All right. Before I know that Evan, I know that you gotta run out in 10 minutes or less here. One thing I did want to ask is I don't know if Joel is here at the moment, but if Joel is here, Joel's game does an extremely good job of explaining a lot of information. So I was wondering, Joel, do you have any thoughts on how he could be explaining stuff better?
Ooh, well, I mean, my solution to that question 90% of the time was just add a tooltip on hover, but yeah, that's hard because there's such different types of games.
Yeah. Yours, you get to sort of kick back and take a lot of time on your early decisions, and in this, you are rushed from the first moment.
Right. Yeah. You can't really get up and grab a cup of coffee with this game.
I have one final bit of tiny feedback, which is
stressful.
It says you lasted 0 rounds, but in fact, I lasted 4 rounds. What it should say is you completed 0 rounds.
Yeah, that's fair.
So true.
Yeah, because
Does
of,
that-
yeah, I mean, you heard what I said before, where I'm not upping the round count per se,
Yeah.
and all my difficulty is based on round count. So, yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that
What
that
is-
actually just led to a little bit of the confusion early on. It's like, what is a round? When it says you lasted 0 rounds when you're learning how to play, you don't understand what a round is if it's phrased that way.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, I understand your earlier confusion more.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the little things that unlock it, you know.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay.
One other real little thing, is I totally think that there could be like like when you submit, there could be a beat, then the cup breaks, and then a beat, and then the next round starts. As it is,
Yeah.
everything happens like at the same time, and that just added a little bit more to the confusion of what are the cups, how am I doing, and then why did I just lose?
That's fair.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, honestly, if I had more time, it would have been great to say,
When I
like,
was in this cubicle,
you know,
I had 11
click the
clocks on the wall
button,
and
shake
shined
the
them
person
every
you
day.
got wrong, or something like
These
that,
kids are
or like
Yeah.
shake the
marshmallows.
cup or something like that.
Ooh, yeah.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I'm putting all this in the expectation that you guys have a chance of continuing to work on this game. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
your
yeah. No. I am gonna work on it. I'm not gonna work on it to the extent, you know, we're working on Asterisk, which
Yeah.
but I'll probably do like another version of this just to kind of, you know, clean things up. You know, I
Mhm.
might not get to a full, you know, great tutorial, but it'll be better than what's there. You know,
While we're young,
there's a goal,
Ernesto,
but
wait,
it's not
which way?
a Steam game, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
it is always satisfying to do that like extra like 10-20% of the work that like sort of unlocks it to
Yeah.
a bigger audience. Makes it nicer to
Yes,
share.
definitely.
Yeah, just kind of you know, the concept you've got, the core gameplay, which is
I
really
got a meeting in
strong, and
5.
I can imagine
Got my
addictive.
caffeine. Someone's clock hit
Just
0.
polish it
I'm
up
scheduled
and
to catch my
call it
plane.
done. But it is hard not to imagine, like, how could you really, you know, Brazil it up even more, make things more, you know, more moving parts, more unusual devices that you
Oh,
don't know what
yeah.
they are right away, and you have to, and things that work together when it could easily be simpler. You know, like, oh, that seems like the aesthetic and the theming of this game, and you could really lean into it, but that could take you forever.
Yeah, that you just added years to this project.
Yep. No, but I think the gameplay itself, it just those, the little bit more communication, and then you can call it done. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess I do have to go, but I will be look at Joel's game tomorrow. If it's
Yeah,
you said
I
it's
think it'll be up
somewhere
your
on
alley. I think you'll actually
Serious.
like it a lot. It's got some
Yeah.
interesting stuff going on.
Well,
All right, thanks for
awesome.
joining us, Evan.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's great to talk to you guys as usual.
Yes.
Oh, this
Have a good
looks
evening.
cute.
Good luck. So, folks, this is my opportunity to reach out to our audience and say if anybody wants to play test this next game. It is a roguelike deck builder. I've given it a little looky-loo, and it's been something I've really been enjoying thinking about over the last day or so. If anybody feels like joining, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, I guess we could sick Mark or Dale on it.
Dale, you're still connected if you want to give it a go.
Well, you said I wasn't connected for a while.
Well, I just took your
I'm
mouse and keyboard away,
Oh, well.
but I've given it back to you.
Okay, I'm gonna start it, and hopefully somebody will come in after I get through learning I don't know what's going on and read the directions, and then they can play. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is I am in a forest. In my foreground is a tree with some shelf mushrooms on it, and then to my right is like the giantest mushrooms I've ever seen. New game. Ooh, character. Begin. Okay, we're gonna do this. Okay. Tree folk, witch, beast. That looks like a cat. We're gonna pick that. Starting room.
Oh, are we looking at Unity's 2D character rigging?
Yeah. It's
Cool.
sprite skins.
Yep, that's what I want. Okay. That's what I want. Okay.
Looks
begin.
great.
Oh man,
Ooh.
I'm immediately regretting I haven't played with this character so far. He looks awesome.
It's the newest one, so
What's this? Oh, that's a bunch of stuff. I don't want to look at that. Okay, continue. Play your turn.
This is gonna go great.
Okay. Oh, I'm fighting this axe guy. But check out these awesome dog color suspenders that I have. Okay, seems like I would be good to claw this guy. Okay, then I'm gonna hit end turn. Okay, and then it shuffled that back. Okay, now it's going to presumably,
Ooh.
root me. Okay, I don't know what that means. This tree is wearing boots. Okay. Ooh, I'm totally going to flame it. That seems like something it would be susceptible to.
So notice that you have that ability above the runes to hit
You know
cast.
what?
And so, like, if you
Guys,
look at
telling
the
me
woodsman's health,
This is not how I play things. He's poisoning me? Not cool. Okay.
yeah. So, like, look at the woodsman's health. You haven't actually done anything to it. When you click on a like one of these runes, you'll get some options of it.
Click cast.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that doesn't read as a button.
Ah.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then I want to stick it, and then I want to apparently love it, but also break up with it.
Ooh, sap 1 HP. Okay, cool.
That makes sense. Okay. Now I'm gonna end turn because that's my only line. I don't.
Oh, you can sap it because it's a tree.
Oh.
Unintended, but good one.
Gain 1 energy.
Is
Okay.
this my next? Oh, this is my next hand. Okay. I would like to.
So an interesting
Fire it.
consequence is the when you hover over something and you get the what it is. Dale just did that when they were small in the corner, and it seems like those tooltips are child objects of those runes, and so the tooltip also shrinks, which is probably not what you want.
Yeah, I've been thinking of switching to like a global tooltip system.
Mm-hmm.
So I seem to be doing fine, but I don't understand what's going on. Ooh, he dealt 3 damage to me with a, but he also damaged himself, I think. Okay, I'm gonna fire.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah, he only has 3 HP. You're doing good.
I know, and I've only lost 5.
So it looks like you've set fire to the other character's runes, which is
That's interesting.
And that's what it appears to be. I don't know what that means exactly.
And then I got something. Okay, then I'm gonna do this, whatever that is. And then hopefully this is. Oh, nope, he's gone. Yeah! Okay, I would like to. Yeah, that stick was kind of awesome. Deals 15 damage. Oh! So when I do these things in a row. We're gonna do this one because I can't count on having so many sticks.
Yeah. This is a screen that confused me a little bit as well. Is there a place where you can like? Oh, this is cool. But like, is there a place where you can see what a spell is on this screen? Because I sort of had to like bash my way through it.
What do you mean? What a spell is like?
Well, what like a spell is, as far as I understand. I haven't gotten like as far as I would have liked to in this game. But like you like if you have like 2 runes in your hand that contribute to a single spell, you can like merge them into that one spell. But I did not know that when I went through that first screen. I was just like, say, oh, gain a spell. And I thought exactly what Dale thought, that like if I played these things in sequence, I would be able to get that, which is like not actually even that far off. It was still like pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
But like it would be like what I wanted was to be able to hover over like the word spell or something. I don't know if that's realistic, but hover over the word spell and it would explain to me like what a spell is.
Yeah, I think that's one of the elements that's not like your vanilla roguelike deck builders that would benefit from like a onboarding little tutorial.
Yeah.
So now I'm fighting this guy who is a squire, but he looks like a tween. I'm gonna first take some of this stuff, and then I'm probably gonna hit him with a stick. That seems reasonable, right?
Maybe like a young Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Okay, and then I'm gonna just use everything I have because I burned some stuff. I'm gonna burn some more stuff.
Dale, if you
I
mouse
can't
over
do
the
that.
runes that are burning, can we see what burning does?
They're kind of blocked, but
Okay,
Take 3
okay.
damage when used.
I see. Oh, okay. Oh, that's awesome. And the other one is take 1 damage when used? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and I don't have enough energy to call this guy, so I'm gonna end my turn. Okay.
And if you applied like a ton of burn to one of the enemies, could the enemy choose to not use that rune, or will they always use all their runes?
that's not calculated into their AI. But I've
Okay.
gotten that suggestion a couple times.
Mhm.
Like especially if they off themselves by using a rune, you know.
Right.
Get some more.
Yeah, like comparing this to a few other like roguelike deck builder games, it does seem like you are sort of asking players to know a little bit more or to calculate a little bit more for themselves than many of them do. Like for example, like the biggest one is obviously you present these 4 icons, these 4 runes in the opponent's hand, and like so you're asking the player to understand what all those things mean. I guess it doesn't matter because you can just like watch the game, but ultimately like at higher difficulties, the player has to know what those runes are, right? Like they have to like go ahead and sum up everything the opponent is doing, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on now, is trying to figure out the enemy builds, because like some of the later enemies have like tons and tons of runes and spells, and there's just no way to have any sort of strategy with them.
Yeah.
But then there's games where you're not really able to predict what the enemy's doing like, that much. Nice.
Small bit of feedback on the colors here. The gray neutral runes. I don't really understand what that like the leaf is one of the neutral runes, but the stick is an attack like some of the red ones. So I don't really know what makes it neutral. But also, I think gray is the color of disabled. I think if you want a neutral color, you want like a low saturated blue or something that still reads as something, but gray feels like, I mean, you learn it very quickly. But like off the bat, it looks like it's like disabled or weakened or something.
Yeah, for sure. I had plans to have a blue character with like blue runes, so.
Ooh, okay.
I take your point. That's maybe brown.
Well,
like
I don't know. I don't mean blue. I mean like add a little blue to it. Like still make it grayish. But when it's like solid gray with no color at all, that reads as disabled. If it's if it's dimmed, you just add a little tint to it, just to make it feel like it's part of the palette of the world rather than removed from the world, which is what a pure gray looks like.
Yeah, for sure.
This is like some like color science nonsense that not totally objective,
That is a brutal event right there. Oh my gosh.
I missed it. What happened?
It was the one where it's like, do you want to draw 1 less card, or do you want to get 1 less energy per turn?
Hey, I'm gonna do this.
Oh, another question I had is like, some of your runes have like different costs, right? I think that Dale only has 1 cost runes, but other ones can cost more, right?
Well, all the runes cost 1, but the spells cost. That's one of the benefits of melding. If you meld your runes together, they just cost 1 to use those 2 runes. So if you were to select 2 runes at the same time, if they were like part of the same spell, then you can meld them. Like in battle, you can't permanently meld them, but.
Pressure.
Okay. So you don't need to like show costs on the runes at all. That's really cool. That's very elegant.
Yeah, well, the runes don't really correspond to a cost. Although, yeah, I've thought about changing it to where spells just arbitrarily have whatever cost, so that you can kind of turn that knob up and down, and because some of them are,
Dale.
They cost 1 rune, but they should cost 2 energy or something. But then some of them cost 2 runes, and they should cost maybe 1 energy.
Yeah. Having everything cost like the same amount per rune definitely seems to limit the balancing choices that you can make.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all have our constraints.
Yeah, my original seed of an idea for this game was like a wizard with emojis that he was using to cast spells. So you're combining emojis like, peach, apple, or whatever, and those would somehow correspond to different spells. But that was more of an RPG type idea.
Mm.
Oh, like you like interact with the NPCs like and you choose your dialogue by way of emojis.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
fantastic.
Yeah. Or, you go around town and solve people's problems by figuring out different emoji combinations.
Finally, I get to put all of my Slack skills to use. Okay, so I'm looking at the like enemy the enemy runes, and I'm just like, man, there's a lot of information to take in. Like, I feel like what I'm being pushed to do as a player is to mouse over all the runes that the enemy has and figure out, oh, I'm gonna take 8 damage, so I need to apply 8 block to myself if I can.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to do that, I've got to like mouse over a whole bunch of stuff. Like I wonder, like, would it be possible to just show me as the player surface information saying like, oh, you are going to take 8 damage next turn because of the runes. I mean, maybe that's not trivial to calculate because of fancier effects. What I wonder is like, is there a way to simplify the things that I really need to know out of the enemy's attacks?
Yeah, like watch out for a debuff coming or something like that.
Totally.
It might come down to also, I was playing Dicey Dungeon, if anyone's played that.
Oh, of course.
And I've noticed that the enemies, except for like a lot of the later ones, have really only like 1 or 2 or 3 different actions they'll take.
That's the thing. Is like what I am afraid of you doing here is having played like almost all of these games out there commercially available. What I see you being in danger of doing is adding extra complexity on one of the least interesting things in the game. Like, you don't need to have robust and like super interesting enemies. The enemies have to be diverse. They have to be different from each other. They have to encourage you to play in different ways. But they don't need to have like, oh, I'm going to do 6 different things on my turn. That seems outrageously overboard to me.
Yeah. I'm a super average developer where I just get super sucked into complexity just naturally.
Well, I would say that one trend that we've seen, at least in our community, is developers going like all in, like having a huge amount of complexity, but then finding that like their game has some real beauty in it, but you have to like cut away at some of the complexity where it's not necessary. For example, I really think that the combining of spells, that's something I'm super interested to like get into more as I play this game. But the like enemy attacks is something that, at least my opinion, is not something I'm interested in investing in and figuring out.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely trace it to when I built the enemy turn system and was really excited about it. And so I was like, more runes, more spells.
Yes, if you want another example of something that does exactly this thing, you ever play the Downfall mod for Slay the Spire?
No.
Oh, like by far recommended.
Is that where you're the enemies?
Yes, recommended by Megacrit themselves. One of the best mods I've ever seen in any game. And you play as the enemies, you fight against the player characters, and the player characters have decks. And like having played like a couple hundred runs with the enemies and against the players, I would just say that what the player decks do is they dilute how special the enemies are, because they make them more random, less predictable, and so it rewards you less for learning what they can do and playing around it. That's why I don't really like having enemies that have decks in this kind of game.
Yeah, gotcha. I will check that out. I've been meaning to get into some mods for that game.
Oh, the player character that they added for that, the Hermit, is I swear, I played them all. That is by far the best mod character. He's so good.
Nice.
Okay, but anyway, I'm really excited to see what this boss is. Are you planning on doing an incremental difficulty system? Like once you beat the game here, you'll like move up to a higher difficulty?
That would be cool. I'd say that any of the kind of meta progression stuff is a little bit past like a couple months past figuring out enemies a little more.
Oh, sure.
But
Yeah.
I definitely have that planned. I'm sure the math for that is going to be quite hairy.
Honestly, I feel like having done this in a couple of games now that I've made. I think it's less difficult than you would think. The key is, in my opinion, to make them be charismatic jumps is more important than getting the math perfect. You wanna make your starting difficulty so that like new players can get a purchase on it and not die right away. And you want to make your top difficulty so that it challenges you. But then along the way, the most important thing is not having jumps that like are like calculated to the nth degree. In my opinion, anyway, it's having changes that the players will feel and will notice. At each step.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like the what is it? The scroll of pain in Hades, where like each specific thing is a specific addition to the game.
Perfect. Yeah, that is a beautiful example, because a game where you like pump up the number of enemies feels vastly different from one where you pump up like the amount of damage that one enemy does.
Yeah, right. Otherwise, it's just number go up.
Ooh, you should do one in reach. I don't know what that is. I want this.
So, question about Hellfire is that's a spell that requires 3 different runes. Do you have to have, in order to cast Hellfire, would I have to have all 3 of those runes just occur in my hand at the same time?
Yeah.
Interesting. So this game really feels like it puts and I think that there's like a lot that you can do with that. That actually seems like a really cool gameplay challenge to me, because what I think that pushes me to want to do is it puts much more of a premium on card draw on this game compared to other deck builders I've played.
Yeah, for sure.
Testing there.
I think that was a big problem or a big phase of figuring out the initial game design of this, was like I was trying to just map kind of Slay the Spire type things, and the whole game loop isn't exactly the same, just because you're not using single cards one at a time, or I mean, not all the time at least.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like knowing that there are like hundreds of things that you have to get right to make that kind of game function properly. The fact that this has not broken down and that Dale is like successfully making progress through this is very impressive to me. Like, those are not easy games to make.
Yeah, hours and hours of debugging for sure.
Yes. How like this is such a like a question that nobody but me is going to be interested in. But like how challenging is it? Like, I noticed that you can sort of like, while you're doing stuff, the interface is like, I can't tell, like if you're playing a move, the interface is not still alive, right? Like you can't like queue up different attacks while you're already in the middle of attack. Is that true?
So about a year and a half ago, I actually built this web prototype of this game that was Christmas themed. It's on my website. I can send you a link if you want. But
Cool.
It was like a Christmas wizard using Christmas themed runes, like Christmas trees, boxes, candy canes.
Yeah.
But I made that with what's it called, Phaser, this web game library.
Oh yeah, cool.
Really cool library. But I didn't do any sort of like managing all these race conditions that could happen with all these timeouts and like timed events that were happening.
Yep.
So I built this pretty robust like scheduling system into this version of it. So everything actually, when you click a spell, everything happens synchronously, like all the state updates.
Oh,
and then,
nice.
Yeah, and then all the animations kind of get queued in the background.
I mean, I don't know. This might be some like deep lore on deck builders, but like Slay the Spire had for a long time. Like you could, if you like did stuff really really fast, you could get in like extra actions before your energy got spent. It was like pretty dank bugs in the early versions of that game. That's cool. So like as soon as you do something, it's all calculated out. So is that why you can continue to do actions while your character is animating?
Yeah, and there's definitely some possibilities for, insidious bugs that I haven't thought of. Like if you had played this game a month ago, if you clicked the spells fast enough, sometimes your rune you just discarded would just pop back out into your hand. So.
Oh, okay. So let me pause to like actually pay attention to this boss. It's a little further than I've gotten.
Yeah, this is one of those overcomplexified enemy builds.
Sure.
The thing that's strange about it to me is that it is a bunch of runes that the player has not seen up to now, so they don't really have any way to strategize against it.
Yeah.
Like it's right. Like Dale learned a lot going through the path to the boss, but none of that knowledge, other than just the basics of how to play and how to use your own. But like you don't learn any defensive strategies.
I was originally going to have this guy would be your final boss if you're playing the witch character, because the witch character has all the same runes. And then one of the previous characters, like the little flying person, was basically would have been the boss for the tree folk character.
Just coming off of Department of Demise, I gotta say, like, I do really appreciate all the like little bounces that all the UI does. Whenever anything relevant happens, you got like something moving around or bouncing. Yeah. So like tell me. Oftentimes an enemy will do something and it'll be represented as a spell that's like multiple runes. If you hover over their runes, are you capable of seeing like what spells they're going to use?
Like as they're doing them?
Right. Well, no, before. Like on Dale's turn, if she like, does she have any way as a new player to know, like, to understand what sort of spells this enemy is capable of?
Okay. Well, okay, so if you go up and click like on his runes, there should be a little hover state, and it opens up a different. You can actually view like their whole spells that are in their hand and the spells that are in their whole possibility space.
Cool.
So, but even with that, it's like a lot of bookkeeping to keep track of what the enemy's doing for a strategy.
Gotcha. Oh man, and it's not just, I guess, because the enemy has this many cards in hand.
Yeah.
Any of 7 spells. Interesting. Well, it's kind of weird. It's like I'm definitely thinking of like Final Fantasy games. Like enemies oftentimes will just do a move. They don't like tell you what they're going to do ahead of time. And it really is like sort of an innovation of, what was it, Dream Quest that came out a couple years before Slay the Spire, that like enemies start like showing what they're going to do before they do them. Here, I almost feel like it might be a better new user experience if the enemy just was completely opaque. They're just going to do something and you got to deal with it, because right now the game is essentially, as far as I can my emotional experience looking at this is, I just don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to click on that and try to prepare for 8 different possible outcomes,
Yeah, absolutely. This is probably one of those like should have been on the cutting room floor kind of ideas, because like the Banished Guildsman starts with just 3 runes, and then the one spell he can do gets him a new rune, and so he's like creating his deck over time.
Oh, I see. But so here we on like the most complex possible like boss, like multiple turns in. I gotcha.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, and apologies for spending too long like investigating one aspect of the game that might be a temp thing.
No, actually, I mean that's what I'm really focusing on right now, is figuring out enemy builds and adding new enemies.
Yeah.
And balancing.
What's so interesting about that boss is it spent all this time doing these fancy things about drawing new runes and adding one shield and drawing, doubling power, and Dale just kept chipping away at him like he did.
Yeah.
True.
That's why he's the Banished Guildsman. He's wasting magic.
Yeah. Well, that's the challenge you have with a game that the draw of it is the complexity that you can build and the sort of the complicated things you can assemble, and it's just that if it ends up just being like just attack until they're dead, you kind of the player doesn't get to take advantage of all those systems you built if that is a successful strategy.
Yeah.
Like I was watching Dale like decide whether to meld runes or do complicated things, and then just see her decide to just damage for 6, because it was always very... And that blood rune came in handy a lot, because Dale was never really worried about her losing her own health, because she was...
I like that one.
Yeah, that would seem a little bit OP. Because it ignored shields, too, which made it extremely powerful.
Right.
It did do that.
And Dale had a bunch of them in her hand, too, so... I mean, it's only 3, but it adds up.
Okay.
Oh... The bleed thing, it ignores the enemy shields?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it doesn't work if you have full HP though, so in order to sap HP from them you have to have some damage, I guess.
That's interesting.
I'll be honest, that actually seems like a redemptive element to me, Mark, because the problem that this genre has classically, and this was the zenith of this was in Darkest Dungeon, which I think was ruined for this until they patched this out. Which was, it used to be that you were heavily incentivized to just draw out fights, wait for the enemy to put up some block, and then heal yourself. So you would just draw you could be 75% of the way through the game in a losing condition where you should die, but because you can exploit the mechanics of waiting around in a fight forever to heal yourself back up, that was just what you had to do. You were obligated to do it if you wanted to maximize your chance of winning. Right. And so I actually kind of like that pierces through the shield, because it means that in order to heal yourself you have to progress the fight.
Sure.
It's actually been pretty hard for people to not die on the first round with that beast character.
Because Dale's a professional.
Yeah.
Number 1 play tester.
What?
Dale, is this the kind of game you'd be into in general, roguelike?
It has way too much stuff to remember.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's great because you don't really need to remember it, and it pulls it up, but I have no idea really what Thorn is. But I have it here. And so far, I'm doing great.
I think that since Mark is an occasional 4X player, game enjoyer, I think that he is secretly a deck builder player
you take
in the
back.
Chrysalis. and then I have probably 2,500 hours across these different games on Steam. So yeah, I'm an addict. I really like them.
Okay.
No, I'm generally skeptical of deck building in terms of its complexity. Doesn't appeal to me at all. But I know Dale is better at 4X games than I am. And Dale and I are both we like systems. So that's probably why Dale's doing pretty good at this, because it's really hard to flummox her. She can get a handle on how it works, but I don't think, I mean, she can speak more to it, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's not as interested in the deck building components either.
I mean, deck building is essentially this weird thing that just involves doing thinking about statistics just a little bit.
Yeah.
I want that one. And so it's I usually just don't pay attention. Okay, so what I learned was, there's lots of things that way. This is different than last time. This is not the same map.
Are the maps randomly generated?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, that's really good.
It's pretty cool.
I like that a lot.
Let's go talk to this guy.
Sometimes every now and then they'll be weird, lumpy, overlapping each other. So we got
Really. Okay,
the meld is so cool.
Confirmed. Thank you. I got a feathery stick.
Dale, are you reading what you're gonna get at all before you do it?
Yeah.
It's a feathery stick.
Ooh.
It's a feathery stick.
It's clearly just a feathery stick.
It was one of the spells I learned, so I figured it was.
Okay. Dude, I'm really an enjoyer of this fairy character. I think that luck mechanic. I'm not exactly sure how it works at this point, but it's that feather makes you 5% more likely to get good outcomes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything that uses a percentage chance, like confusion or, some of the spells that the Treatful character has.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. So I do appreciate that luck mechanic. I do think that's it's quite good. And like if I had a lot of luck and then a lot of things that required die rolls, like that would be a cool synergistic little package. What I wonder is, strategically speaking, it man, it strikes me, and this is just me sort of like talking through my own thoughts, not like critiquing your strategy here. But like what I wonder is, it seems as though these decks are just going to get more and more complex as you go through like further parts of the game. Like is there going to be more to a run of the game than this one map? Are you planning on having like multiple acts in the game?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of an open question right now. I'm trying to decide what to do with this game.
Yeah.
In a larger sense, like, do I want to?
Oh, sure.
Kind of tie up this MVP and do some kind of Kickstarter or something, or just keep, plugging at it from a hobby perspective forever. But yeah, I think this is like the first act in my mind. So the second act was going to have. I was trying to think of some way to lessen that complexity a bit.
Yeah.
Like capping the hand size, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, like right now, you can go to a random event and all of a sudden be able to draw one more card for the rest of the game. Like your events are just so powerful, and I guess that has to be the case because the game is about like maybe a half or a third as long as it's going to be ultimately. So you have to have like stuff that like makes one run feel very different from the next. Like Act 1 in Slay the Spire feels very similar to another Act 1 in Slay the Spire. It's only once you get to like 2 or 3 that the game really starts to feel really different from build to build. So I can see why they're so extreme. But that must make balancing like very, very, very challenging. Like having to like make the player so much more or less powerful within just like 10 events.
Yeah, things can go kind of haywire really quickly just with a couple event outcomes. Like you can draw one more, get one more energy, and maybe you learn some spell. So I think sometimes that's the fun part of this kind of game, though, is like just a completely overpowered broken deck.
Yes. Yeah. As long as it like only comes together every once in a while. As long as you can't like force it every round. Yeah.
Yeah. Every single spell that you can learn has like an arbitrary weight on it. So some of them I have set like really low to where they're a little bit more rare.
Oh, that's interesting. Like that makes me wonder about like you know what, I don't honestly dislike that. Like I feel like I do kind of appreciate when games have like some readability, like that this thing is a rare, therefore it's going to show up like one order as often as like commons do, but like like whatever. Like I'm interested in a game where that like is something you just sort of have to feel out.
Is that something in Slay the Spire?
Rarity? Oh, yeah. It is in almost all of these games where like the cards will have like a certain designated rarity, and then that will fluctuate like based on like how far you are into the game. So you get more rare stuff towards the end.
Okay. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned you like the chance mechanic, because a couple of people have had test this game that really like roguelike deck builders.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that they just can't stand.
I
don't get it. I
mean, as like a person who's part of the fat Venn diagram overlap of people who enjoy STS and Dicey Dungeons, like, come on, like that is just a cool mechanic. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Well, and if I'm being honest, I want to aim for Dicey Dungeons kind of vibe more.
Okay. Well, in that case, I mean, I'm kind of interested in seeing how the game plays with like at the fastest setting. I noticed that you did something I really appreciate, which is in the settings menu. You can set the UI and the enemies to just go real fast. And I'm kind of curious what the game feels like at that pace. Because one thing about Dicey Dungeons is the games in that take like 10 minutes or so, like 15 at the most. Like they just feel so much lower pressure, and the randomness is okay because they just go by so fast.
Yeah.
It's interesting though that you're going for like something that like you say the Dicey Dungeon feel, which in my opinion at least is more lightweight. Would you agree with that? Like it's like you take it less seriously?
Yeah, I would say so, but like especially as someone with a full-time job,
Yeah.
If I'm just like sitting down for 30 minutes, I'm not going to invest in like a full run of Hades or something. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of like that lighter feel. Plus the art has ended up being a little more storybook. So maybe it caters a little bit more to like simplicity, but
You know, somewhat related to that, I've been thinking about this for both of our games tonight, but this one particularly, this would make a really great mobile game. I don't know if that's something you'd consider, but I feel like that's I mean, I don't know how common it is to have games like this on mobile, but the way the interface is done, it could really work for touch.
There's been a few of them, and they've made a bunch of money.
And like it seems like each enemy seems to be about the right amount of time in terms of like a mobile play session. And then the campaign feels like something you could play on a bus ride. That's just the vibe I'm getting. And even the art style, I think, would work really well on a phone screen. I mean, you know, obviously you have to make adjustments to layout and stuff, but it's a game you can just play with your thumb, you know?
Yeah, like I played a little bit of Night of the Full Moon last year. It's kind of like Little Red Riding Hood or something, but yeah, it's always very simple. There's only like 2 or 3 things you can do at a time, and you're just kind of using your thumb.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of depth to it also.
Yeah, like I mean, I think you're talking about like the sort of overall complexity of the game and where you want to land. I don't think you need to worry about that being in terms like because it's simple to play. Like so, I don't think it matters necessarily how complicated it is because that complexity doesn't seem to. Like that level of complexity will keep you from maybe mastering the game, but it doesn't seem to stop you from being able to play it, or it wouldn't make it less approachable. Is my reading.
Yeah, that's a helpful distinction for sure.
Yeah, I just imagine myself like, what setting would I play a game like this? Like I play it on my phone. Like I don't know that I would want to sit in front of my computer to play because it's a little slower in terms of as you go by, and so it feels like it should be a little more of a casual experience. But that might just be me. I don't know.
Well, I don't disagree, Mark. I do think that like as I mentioned earlier, this type of game has been enormously successful on like Android, iOS. One thing that I would say is that I do think that these games do feel more appropriate as a desktop experience if the user uses something that is in the settings. I mean, it is kind of buried. It's a screen away, but typically this sort of game will offer some sort of setting to make things go faster, which makes it for a more engaging experience once you know what you're doing.
Oh, just to like reduce animations and stuff like that.
Exactly, just make things go very quickly. Yes.
Oh, so that feels like that's appealing to the genre hardcore.
You got it.
Okay,
100%.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm neither here nor there on that, but
yeah, the thing you learn about from the subreddit after you've played for like 30 hours already. Yep.
Yeah, that's like when you're already you need those endorphins a little faster, right?
Well, you're not wrong.
Yeah. If you go, I've been playing Monster Train. If you can speed that up to like almost 0 time for anything, and it's just like a million sound effects all at once.
This isn't a knock on any of the games that do that, but I feel like if that's a feature people are requesting, then you've kind of done something wrong.
Ooh, well, okay. Unpack this, Mark. Unpack this because I need to hear more.
I am a holistic game designer. I feel like everything should be part of the whole, and if players are asking to take something away, then why was it there in the first place?
Well, let me just run my use case by you because I'm considering doing this on a game that I do for my day job, which is which is another mobile game. Yes. But basically, it's the sort of game where it is not sort of catering to it is unfortunately it is not a like this is a like 5 or 6 hour like experience that we've crafted for people. What it is it's a hobbyist game. It's a sports license game, and people oftentimes will spend like hundreds of hours getting like very invested in it.
Yeah.
And the deal is what we find is like the things that a player knows after 100 hours is really different from what people know after 100 minutes playing the game.
Yeah.
They don't need the explanatory animations to take like a quarter of a second. It can just be instantaneous, or they don't need it at all. And so we're considering adding in some like features to speed up the game, just because like the space the game takes up in your space, the space the game takes up in your brain after you've played it for that long, once it's a part of you, is very different from when you're just trying to figure it out as a new player. So what we're doing is we're considering allowing people an option to compact or remove some of the explanatory animations.
Sure. I think so. The question then is someone who plays it for 100 hours, are you certain that the person who plays that long will want this feature? If that's the
absolutely
case, then what you should be doing is you should be scaling those. I mean, that should just happen automatically then at that point. I mean, it's kind of you have to motivate that in the game somehow. But like, it feels like if you play it that long, you could be roughly 100% certain that the player wants that to change. Then it should just change. Right?
That is such a fascinating answer, and I don't disagree with you at all. I just don't know the right answer to that, but man, that's a really good point.
That's a really hard thing to calibrate, but I think that's the job of the game designer, right? And part of this for me is I'm a little skeptical of games that people play for 100 hours. Like at that point,
very reasonable.
Yeah. Yes. But I mean, this is the distinction between games as literature and games as activities. You know what I mean? I'm the type of person who enjoys. I mean, I can certainly get sucked into a game with a tight loop and play it for on and on and on. But generally, I'm more of a proponent of games as literature. Something it can have repetitive cycles and it can be mechanically complex. But I'm not that interested in mastery. It's like once you've played it, you've gotten the experience. So that's my bias. But I think if you are making something that is meant to be played as an activity, then you should recognize the players who are at a certain level with it and just cater to them rather than basically put the levers in their hands to make them make it work for them, But I don't think there's a really great example of games that do that. I think it's very much like options to speed things up or options to make it more suitable for a hardcore or long-term player. But then the developer's voice gets lost a little bit at that point,
Joel, anything you'd like to add?
Not particularly. There's been a lot of really good feedback from you guys.
Yeah. I apologize for going off on a bit of a tangent, but like, man, that is player versus developer agency. I think is a pretty interesting topic. But anyhow, Dale, where are you at right now? Like, what are your thoughts?
I like this game.
It does seem that it gives you just enough variety, but doesn't demand expertise right away. So it just feels extremely approachable for a game like this. I think that really goes in its favor.
Yes.
That you can afford to fumble around a little bit before you get really good at it, and I think Dale has now got a good handle on everything. But unlike, say, the first game we played tonight, it gives you a lot more room to figure it out. And not that one approach is better than the other, but I think that's what this game is doing really well.
We got a question from the chat. David asks, "What is UUUP?" Would someone like to handle that one?
What is that?
Just a simple question. What is UUUP? Let me ask, David. What do you mean? What is UUP?
I would say NOOO thin, right?
Could you spell that so I could tell it to him?
I mean, nothing's up, right?
Okay. Oh yeah, it is similar to Updog. And then he says the exact same thing. Okay. Okay. One thing I gotta say is I do think that as a genre enthusiast, combining spells seems fantastic. Like I really like this the melding thing. It seems very satisfying.
Yeah, that was a little bit of gold I felt like I struck, because it's like you can reformat your deck for each battle a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and one thing I'm noticing is that you've got your interest curve is very nice. So like you've got like you become more powerful over a run, but also within each fight you become more powerful. Like there's some built-in ramping because of like being able to meld stuff together. It's just really efficient. That's cool.
For sure.
One thing I kind of wonder is like it like I have no idea how good this is from a game design perspective, but it seems like it costs the same amount of energy to play both of your runes as it does to meld them and then play your melded thing.
I was just going to say, I don't think that's true. I think it's the right amount of, I mean, maybe one of us is wrong about this, I guess, but I feel like it's the right amount of risk reward, is whether you play it now or you meld it now, and then you can play it maybe once or twice more this round.
Well, that's by design, and I think Lane, I think you got it right, where you can either use the same energy to meld and then play the spell, or just play it. But yeah, it does get you more draw over time.
Okay. What I was wondering is does it seem like, and I haven't examined what the effects are of the melded spells, but it almost seems like I'm trying to rack my brain to figure out like when I would choose to play both of them as opposed to meld and then play the melded spell. Like it just seems like the latter seems to be always more efficient right now. And I just wonder if there is if like maybe, I don't know, like melding could cost 2. I mean, Dale happens to be in this state where she's got energy galore. She's got like 5 energy per turn. She can do whatever she wants. What I wonder is like maybe melding should be more expensive. I don't really know. It just seems like it makes you so much more powerful.
I can venture a guess on that, and it might be that it's not being utilized to its potential. But when you meld something, then it's taken. You can't meld it with anything else. Yeah. So my guess is that's the reason why it costs the same, is because you've used it up in that combination. I don't know that punishes the player enough, because they tend to have at least 2 of everything. But I'm guessing that's the reason. Am I wrong about that?
Well, earlier on, when you start with like 7 runes in your whole deck, a single meld can kind of throw off your whole run. Especially if you have like the witch character has these 2 spells that have to alternate. You can only cast one and then the other back and forth. And if you meld one of your stone or your only stone rune, then you're kind of screwed.
Well, what if meld it costs the same, but once you meld it, it goes in the discard pile.
Interesting. Yeah.
You can't meld and cast at the same time, because I feel like that's the risk reward I'm looking for.
Yes.
Because I think
yeah, and that gives you a very cool decision. Like I feel like every game where I've tried to implement am I more powerful right now, casting them independently, or am I more powerful later by melding them? That's always an interesting choice. I love that.
Yeah,
there are cases where like if you have 2 runes left, it'll cost 1 to meld them. And if you just have 1 energy left, then that's a choice you have to make, is like use one of the single rune spells or meld the 2 things.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
I like that discard idea.
Yeah, the thing that gets me about deck builders is I'm never motivated, because it's not a thing I like. I'm never motivated to engage with it. And I think if I'm forced to discard something when I meld it, then that forces me to think about my deck. Instead of just the cards I drew this round or this turn,
Another thought was that spells could have like effects that only happen when the spell is melded or isn't melded. So like a keyword that's like melded, gain 1 energy or something. Maybe incentivizing individual spells to be melded less or more often.
I don't know about that. You might want to test that out. It feels like, because you want players. I generally want players to have a motivation to do a thing, not one of 7 possible motivations or something. I think that's probably a kind of complexity that you don't need. And then players might be melding for those benefits, and then they may be screwing themselves later because they're not actually thinking about their deck, and then later on do you know what I mean? Like, I think it complicates what the player does in a way that they may regret but not realize it right away.
Wait, excuse me. Excuse me, I just noticed that the nesting bear does not have a smaller bear inside of it. Is anyone else bothered by this?
The
Am I the
smaller
only
bear
one?
comes out after like 3 turns, so I think she killed him soon enough.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think Mark just figured out the entire game. I really like the forging. It goes into your discard pile. That seems sick. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's great.
You know, as it stands, the player seems pretty powerful, so you could probably do a lot of things to complicate the player, make them take more risks before you start breaking the game.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, confirmed.
The generosity of these victory rewards, it's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, one thing I want to do is have like each of these little map nodes would have maybe
that jerk again.
what the benefits are that you win from that battle.
Right. I mean,
You
said that you're like planning on having multiple acts, like right now, every single time you get like 3 rewards, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoy the walking through the sort of shop stuff. Reminds me a little bit of Fingens, actually.
Yes.
And it feels like it guides the player through it and explains what everything is as it goes, which I think is really, really well communicated. Like even if you don't know the full system or you don't know what this new effect is as it approaches it, you at least kind of understand that it's an effect, right? And you've seen at least one of those already. And when you ask to pick a new rune, you get the option to see what spells it can make before you choose it. I think I really like those between round sequences. I think they're really well dealt out.
Yes.
Whether they give the player too much power too early is something you can adjust. But I like how you're never stuck playing the same set for very long. You know what I mean? You're always adding new stuff, and I think that's engaging. One thing that I think that could do is you could have more. You could have more. This just might be how Dale is drawn her enemies, but some of the effects are dealing attacks to multiple enemies. But that doesn't happen often enough, I don't think, to change the tactics of your play.
Is it even possible to have multiple enemies? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I think Dale did 1 or 2 rounds where that was the case.
Yeah.
Right, with the multiple fairies. I'm dumb. Okay,
I think it should happen more often.
I totally agree. Yeah, I think
because choosing which enemy to go after. Oh, this one has the lowest health, so I'm going to pick at it now until it's dead. But this one has a particular effect that's really effing me up, so I'm going to focus on it instead. Those are such interesting choices to make, and this game already has that. It's just not using it enough, I don't think.
Yeah. I love how different this character feels from the last one. Like the last one, could just bounce back from low HP. This one has more strong ramping during fights. That's really cool.
That's not what I wanted. I wanted this.
If I had, I guess more like pair or trio enemies could be a cool way to have because 2 really simple enemies that are kind of predictable could be more interesting if they're together. But then you're not trying to complicate things by giving them a bunch of runes or spells. But yeah.
Yes.
I love, and I don't know exactly how to direct this with this specific game, but I always really love it when there are multiple enemies, and then different player builds will choose to prioritize killing them in different order because they are different levels of threats depending on what you're trying to do as a player.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I just have to I just want to call out I think that the fact that the feathers give you more of this luck bonus, but then when you combine the feather with the stick, you get a luck using mechanic. That just seems so cool to me because you choose when you want to start converting away from the build up time into the punching your opponent to death time. I just think that seems really a really, really cool piece of design.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent so many hours just staring at Google spreadsheets with the rune combos, trying to figure out what does moonlight plus stick mean. What's that flavor?
Obscure insult.
I died! Ah, dang. So close.
Wow, winky smiling face. I hope that makes it to the final.
Yep, that's the final ending screen.
Okay, let's begin.
I got it.
Sorry, I should be asking, hey, does somebody else want to play this?
No, I think you're okay. Unless we have someone in chat who wants to jump in.
Maybe some WhatsApp.
But you're getting all 3 characters a run.
Here's one turn. Ignore shield.
That when Dale died, that was actually interesting because even though she'd faced that same character twice before, I don't know if it was exactly the same configuration when she faced it in the middle of a round, but as the Beast also, it's still hard to get a handle on its capabilities.
Yeah.
Like it did in the last round. It did 14 points of damage, and did a couple other things. And I don't know that there was any way for Dale to know that was going to happen, and to properly prepare for it. You know.
Right. Yeah. Especially with so many possible spells it could use.
Yeah. I mean, I think literally she couldn't have. She did put shield up, but I don't think she even had the capabilities to not die that round. So I mean, that's one thing. But I also don't think that she can get a good sense of what the strategy of the opponent is, am I going to play defensively? Am I going to cast a lot of effects? Am I going to just play offensively? It doesn't. The enemies don't seem to change your behavior that much, except for based on what runes they have, and the fact that you know what runes they have should be information to the player, but it doesn't seem to be.
Yeah. It's kind of hidden.
Yeah.
Oh, poison to me. Ouch. Whatever, I'm going to do that to you.
But I suppose that's the thing. If you get really familiar with everything, you can start playing it like chess. Like these are the 8 moves it could make. I need to plan for which one might be, and so maybe that's just something you get from playing the game a lot. But it doesn't seem to be a way for someone to deduce, except for by practice,
Yeah, I think it either needs to be simplified and clarified more, or obfuscated more, like Lane was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about? I'm back. Are we talking about enemy moves?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there is a world in which they could be completely obfuscated. You could go the Final Fantasy VII route or whatever, where you just have no idea what your opponent's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the weaker way to go, in my opinion. I thought that when DreamQuest added the ability to see what your opponent is doing coming up next turn, I just thought that made RPG mechanics much more satisfying. I thought, man, I would love it if somebody modded FF7 so I could play that game again, knowing what the enemies are going to do.
Yeah.
I just thought it was such a cool thing.
I mean,
all of a sudden,
maybe this is too much, but when you see their hand, it might be, if there was some sort of visual indicator for what they're thinking about doing, that might, I don't know if that's giving the player too much information, but giving the player the sense of what are the 1 or 2 potential things they're going to cast. So you still have to plan for an unknown outcome, but you at least have the possibility space is defined.
And it seems like there's kind of a agreed upon set of icons for this, unless I'm only thinking of Roguebook seems to have basically just ripped off all of the Slay the Spire buff, debuff, attack icons.
Mm-hmm.
They're very recognizable down to the color scheme.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh, can I butt in here and opine on Roguebook for just a moment?
Please
do. It is my second favorite of all of them. I think that, in my opinion, it goes above Monster Train, despite Monster Train being a very beautiful game. I really liked what Roguebook did in that it really diversifies your incentives from run to run because of the fact that it shows you what the final boss is going to be at the start. They're so free with the final boss. In this run, is going to put a huge pinch on your energy mechanic. So you want to be able to generate more energy during the run. And so that, because you know that your character is going to have to deal with that final boss that has this energy restriction mechanic, it really rewards you for adopting a whole different set of energy boosting cards throughout the whole run, and it massively changes what you do. So just that one little window into what you're gonna the ultimate sieve that you're gonna have to pass through, does so much to diversify your run to run experience. And I wish more games would adopt that. All right, soapbox put away. We're back to Spelly Forest.
Well, I've heard that like the main, I think it's a cool game too, but the main complaint is that there doesn't seem to be any drawback to just having a huge deck in that game.
Oh,
which has been my experience so far.
Oh, there are balance problems galore in that game, and they've like been patching it, but I don't think that they're there yet. But that one thing that runs can feel very different from one to the next is enough for me to like it quite a bit. But I do agree. There's a lot of balance issues.
So here's a debate I've been having with some people. Is the like larger story that important in a roguelike deck builder? Beyond just like a little blob of text so you know what the setting is and what the general situation is? I
honestly think that right now, if you are the sort of person who is very story driven, it is probably unreasonably rewarding right now to have a good story. Because if you think about all the like roguelikes out there, almost all of them are just paper thin on the story level. So I think that you would actually get disproportionately rewarded for having a good story and like putting a lot of thought into it. However, if you're not the kind of person who really thinks about story a lot, don't bother, because this is also a genre where like you can just get away without not having much story at all. Like how much story does Roguebook have? It has good voice actors, but like does it have any story? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think a way you can leverage that without having to, one, annoy players who don't want it, is to...
Yeah, that's why I don't play Hades, honestly.
Yeah, is to... I mean, what we're looking at in terms of the theming for this is a very traditional, more storybook style, but, medieval fantasy aesthetic. I think what you can do if you're really looking for to leverage the people who want story is to come up with more unique characters, styles, artifacts that are very specific to your game and less sort of standard to the genre. Because then the players who just want to play for the mechanics, good for them. But then folks who really want to lean into the world of it, they will be rewarded, like Lane is saying, sort of disproportionately rewarded. But without having to like drown anybody in cutscenes,
Yeah, kind of having the story a little between the cracks, and you have to read between the lines to.
Yeah, and the more unique, frankly, like Squire is a character that you wouldn't want. You'd want to have some proper noun, and you'd want to design them in a way that feels unique to your world, rather than pulled from a catalog. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the thing is that that's a choice you'd need to make, because there's certainly nothing wrong with draping it in very familiar genre tropes and characters. That has its own advantages. But I think then if you want to add story to that, you're going to need lots of text and lots of cutscenes.
I think, man, it's so rough, because I do think that like you could do it in your own way. Like, for example, as Peter Zedoviker is saying in the comments here, imagine Slay the Spire but Elden Ring lore. Now here's the thing, like Elden Ring doesn't have a ton of cutscenes. Like the whole cutscene length in that game is like what 40 minutes or something or less. But like it has a ton in like item descriptions, right? Like I could imagine like if Slay the Spire had like different backgrounds that had like different things that sort of explained like what was going on in a subtle way, people would put that together, and that would be like a huge feather in the cap of that game. But like but like at this point, I think that like if you aren't the person who's going to do that really well, if you're not like really a like literary person who likes doing world building, then I don't know. Like I think that whoever is that person is going to be very rewarded for it. But like I wouldn't force it unless you're already good at it, or you want to like bring somebody onto your team who is good at it.
Yeah, you have to really want to do it. You can't fake it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what I want to really do is just enough story to justify a meta progression of some sort, but not necessarily shoving it down people's throats or anything like that. Because I'm definitely not that type of person.
Well, then, if that's the case, then you should not do any more story than you want to do, like because then you're just doing it to check a box, you know. It should be. I mean, this sounds just obvious, but like it should be exactly how much that you would want in a game like this, not what you think other people would want. Because then you're making things just for no particular reason, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mark, that is so perfect. Yeah, I think that if you would not want it in a game, then you are not going to be able to make it for people who do want it. In my opinion, like I think that if you have to force it, then it's not going to be good.
It does create an opportunity for you to bring on somebody else to help you with that, who then they can get invested in that thing, and you know, obviously you're still going to decide how much you will enjoy in the game, but if you know, it's a good opportunity to bring on a collaborator.
Hey Dale, I've been sort of absorbed in this conversation, so could you possibly tell me what the witch does as a character? I have no idea.
The witch gets purple runestones, which are pretty useless, and I don't like them.
I've noticed that, Dale, every time you discard a rune to draw a new one, you draw the exact same one that you discarded. Every time.
Brutal.
Okay, let's go ahead.
I'm actually a little I'm a little bummed out that each character gets neutral plus their color, but enemies get a nice mix of stuff. That's kind of a bummer. I would love to be able to, as the Beast, get every so often get a purple rune. You know.
The Treefolk character has a spell later on where you can steal an enemy rune and use their spells. Mm-hmm. But that's another open question for the enemy builds. Like, should they have, or should rune classes even be a thing? Because they're not really used for anything at this point besides color.
Yeah. It feels like that there's, if I'm the player, I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, so later on I'm going to get all different, I'm going to eventually earn the green ones, or I'm eventually going to earn the orange ones or the red ones, but that doesn't seem to ever happen by design. But I think I'm expecting that to happen as I build my deck. I'm expecting to build, like a Magic deck, right? Where it's like, yeah, I'm focused on this one color, but I got a couple of the other ones in there too, you know? And so the character classes seem like maybe almost like a drop rate, like, that the witch is going to have 75% drop rate purple runes, but might get others as well, and that would be the difference between the characters, not just which ones they can use. I'm not sure how much that complicates things. Adding different might break your balance by mixing more, but I feel as a player I would want that.
Yeah, I have. If I end up building the second act, I think the second act would start offering you other class runes.
Okay.
And then I have plans to build out the type of spell where the requirement for the spell is, like, say you're playing the witch, so you normally have purple runes, and then second act you stumble upon like a green rune, like a beetle rune, and suddenly you can learn a spell that is just beetle plus any purple rune.
Yeah.
So that kind of.
Dale, this would be an opportunity to discard one of those if you can.
Oh, Dale, have you, Dale, what does it mean when a rune in your hand is sparkly?
Oh, freaking heck. What?
You just poison yourself.
What does it mean when a rune in your hand is sparkly, Dale? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
It seemed that you were getting out of that. It means that it's one you can combine, or you can meld, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a little bit. I mean, it's kind of like, it's doing a thing, and the only thing I can do with two runes is meld them. But I don't know that I'm drawing the connection between sparkling and meldability. I think it's more of a process of deduction. Like, all I can do with two runes is meld them, so that must be what that means. But it doesn't feel like that's what it means.
Yeah, the fact that it has anything on it is a huge step up. Like, that is what differentiates this game from Department of Demise.
Yeah.
But
it is helpful.
Yeah, could there be a thing that sort of screams out like more like meld with me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One thing also that you can select as many runes as you want, and that seems a little bit strange. Like, you can click on 3 different runes, and then obviously no meld option comes up, but it doesn't. Like, why let you select 3 runes?
Yeah, maybe just deselect anything that you have selected already if you're like selecting something that's not a combo.
Well, I feel like when you click one, you should only be able to click ones that the second one you click, you should only be able to click it if it's meldable. You know.
Yeah.
And then and you can maybe the one you clicked to begin with can be a different highlight, so that when you click that one again, it unselects all of them. You know.
Man, the level of different like interface things you could do with this game, it's just
Yeah.
infinity, man. It's so big. Like I could even imagine like you click on a rune and then all the spells you know with that rune pop up, and the ones that like are like involve all runes that are in your hand are opaque. But like, do you have enough screen space for that? I don't know. This is just like a massive conundrum. I can imagine developing this game. It's just like, I don't know. It's very challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been.
I could see why Dale doesn't like the witch, because there's not enough offensive spells and slightly fewer defensive spells than the fairy has.
I do think that Dale is fastidiously avoiding combining any spells with this character, which is something she wasn't doing with other characters. And I want to know, Dale, sit down on the easy chair. Please unpack this for us.
The combinations of these don't do much, and they're really hard to get.
Could you show us what the stick plus the pile of rocks does?
Stick plus pile of rocks.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, I'm a few seconds behind, so I'm gonna take a moment here. Stick, pile of rocks, deal 5 damage. Oh, that seems good. Increase the shield value of protection hex by 1. Casting must alternate with protection hex. Ooh.
Yes. Therefore.
Yeah, this character does seem a little bit more complex.
Thing, and okay. So we'll just.
I gotta say, dealing 5 damage seems pretty good.
Okay.
And when you play protection hex, it ups the damage on that spell. They go back and forth, kind of just augmenting.
Yes, yeah, and it's really annoying to have to go back and forth. That's why I'm avoiding.
Yeah, there's also no indication that you're going back and forth.
Yeah.
Like there's no indication that you just cast that one. You just have to remember you did, that seems like not a tall order, but actually, it's outside the game, and everything else in the game is communicated. So that not being communicated is a little bit weird.
Yeah. Yeah. If you try to cast one twice in a row, it'll prevent you. Like the button will say you have to cast the other one first. But I could see maybe a status icon or something.
Yeah, or just some sort of like last used or something.
Yep, and there aren't a lot that create multiples and lots of damage. So I would say I enjoyed this one the least. So okay, so Lane, do you want to pop in and play, or Mark, would you want to pop in and play, or is there somebody online who wants to pop in and play?
Well, we're over an hour on this, but maybe Lane, you should give it a go before we set it up.
Yeah, I'd love to give it a little shot here. I'll jump in on Parsec. Meanwhile, our barbarian friend Crom300 in the chat says a couple of pages outline of lore can be drip fed throughout a game and end up reading as far more substantial than it really is, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah. That is actually like super worth pointing out that like there are a certain number of players who are both like sort of mechanically minded, but they really do appreciate lore. And if you have it in you to write like just a couple of pages of something that's in the background and put it into, you know, the background scenes, or just like a like incidental NPC dialogue, like for example, like, you know, in Slay the Spire, the like many threads on Reddit have been created about the fact that the time eater says to the watcher when you reach the time eater, never liked you, right? Like that's just a tiny connection. Yeah. Like between those characters, a small amount of dialogue, but it implies a bigger world. And I think that what Crom is saying here really makes a lot of sense to me, which is you could do the like 80-20 route, which is like you come up with just like a few things that are true about this world in the background. Never tell it explicitly, but just show it through a few things in the game.
Yeah, write your own wiki that you don't just for yourself. And then when opportunity presents itself to drip feed any detail out, go ahead. So that it stays consistent, but you don't have to worry about how am I going to tell all this story. Just have it written down somewhere for yourself, And then every time you need to give something a name or what is this patch of forest called, or maybe it's named after one of the villain's forebearers or something. Like all that stuff will just come naturally as you put it all together.
Man, this one poison, yeah, Dale. I see what you're dealing with here. Also, which starts with 5 energy. This is super interesting to me. Like, maybe I'll learn a little bit more, but it doesn't seem like I am able to saturate this 5 energy. It seems like I'm not able to like spend that. And so what I wonder is like discard 1 rune, draw 1, and then this is shield 2 on your next turn. Shield 2. Okay, I mean that seems sweet. I like that a lot. And I can combine it with this. Deal 5. Oh yeah, we already saw that. Okay, and what is protection X? Okay, I'll cast one of these.
Well, you could spend all 5 on this turn, I think.
Oh, could I? Okay. Oh, that's interesting because when I am told to discard, I only actually execute the discard if I actually have a card in my hand. Yeah. So I can. Okay, so I want to play that card last. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, that's like a fun like way to get one over on the system. I feel like, but like what I wonder is the fact that I have fewer cards in my hand than I have energy means that at least on a naive reading of the system, it sort of feels like I'm not really making decisions.
Yeah.
It seems like the issue here is I'm just choosing the order, and here it seems like it is always correct to I actually should have combined those, my bad, but it seems like it's always correct to wait and play the am I just dumb? Wait, why can't I use this?
Because you need to
use protection. I need to figure out what protection hex is. Okay. Oopsie, I should have combined those. But it seems like since I have more energy than I have cards or than I have runes, it seems like my decisions are always very, very like simple. I need to. Yeah, I see what you're talking about, Dale, with that like combining. It just seems like because I don't know what the protection rune is, like it's very confusing.
Right, and even if you had it in your deck, you're not necessarily gonna get it.
Right.
So it reduces the value of that. You're relying much more on your ability to prune your deck to have those things come up in the right thing. And I don't know. Go. And the game is not engaging enough of that. It's not forcing you to think a lot about what's going in your deck. But then it has a couple of things like that which rely on you having thought a lot about what goes in your deck.
Man, interesting. So protection and misfortune, and how much do I have? Like, am I able to see? I'm able to see my deck right now, right? Like, I can click on this. Can I see the? Oh, I can see the deck. Okay. Yeah. And I have a pretty good balance of these things, and it seems like right now, man, the fact that these two are tied together, it's like I almost don't like. This is kind of an awkward starting decision. I don't know if I'm thinking about this right, but it almost seems like if I choose anything that dilutes those, it compromises my ability to hop between the protection and the misfortune hex. Let's see. So what is this? The crystal is discard 1 and draw 1. And the unfortunate thing about the crystal is it's like I am -2 +1. So it is overall net negative to have more crystals unless they are associated with spells. So
the crystal is otherwise dead weight in your hand. So it's basically worth 0. So when you get rid of it, it's not like you've lost one. It's like
spells for the there's one.
Well, and that's one of those cases.
That's interesting.
Nice to have arbitrarily costed spells. Like the crystal should just cost 0, and then it wouldn't be.
Yeah. I also wonder if like maybe this is just like drastically overpowered or something, but like the mushroom almost seems like the poison mechanic. It like. I think that it kind of wants the mushroom to be like apply 2 poison, because like with the way this is starting, I can never stack it. I can never get to like apply multiple poison in the same turn. But maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want me to like have to get like multiple sources of poison before this symbiosis is really efficient. Right now, this seems pretty bad. Stone, and I have 3 stones. Okay. Gain 7 shield. That's really good. Don't lose shield when starting this next turn. Echo. Gain a copy of a rune that expires at the end of the turn. Echo 1 crystal rune. Okay.
So why would you ever skip learning a spell?
Very good question.
Because I could see skipping taking a rune for deck building reasons. In this game, I don't think you ever would do that, but I think that's just that's a mechanic people are familiar with. But why would you skip any of these other steps?
Yeah, to be honest, it's just the same code that handles that UI.
I mean, it gives you the opportunity to think about it. Like maybe there's a reason why you'd want to skip certain things. But what's the drawback of having too many spells? Maybe you can only have so many spells, or maybe by taking this spell you can't have a different one, and so gives the player a little bit more risk reward stuff, which is always the thing I harp on. But yeah, I mean, right now I think I would just make sure that I would not let players skip it because they might accidentally do it and they'd be kicking themselves.
Originally, that button was always green, even when it said skip. People just hated that.
Yeah,
it's so easy to click.
You do have a couple of buttons that are just text that are not like when you choose a rune, it says "see spells." I was watching Dale play. It took Dale a while to realize that was a button that she could click. I think you probably want to put an outline on that or do something.
Yeah, I guess and then once I got to the witch and I kept clicking see spells, and there weren't that many options, and then I was like, all these things are not great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why does the witch have so many rock and earth things? You need a dwarf or an earth.
You need a what?
An earth monster or a dwarf, like a miner.
Yeah, the purple runes don't say witch to Dale.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Wait a sec. Hold on. Can I? So if I had two enemies here, how would I choose which one I was attacking?
You just click on them.
Click on them. Oh, could I drag this over to the enemy or something? I don't know. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, if it were a mobile game, the drag would be a good thing. It would still work with a mouse, but I don't know. I don't know that it would be an ideal thing. But you can also click on yourself if there are things that can affect yourself.
Look at me! I'm in Combination City, baby. I don't have to do anything else. Woohoo! Cast this. Oh, bummer.
So there's a question about poison. It very much specifically says you can poison yourself. Why would you do that?
Because of symbiosis. You can flip poison so that it heals you instead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dale accidentally poisoned herself earlier, but I'm like, why would you want to do that?
That was an accident, but I also have done that where I did the symbiosis thing, but it's also really hard to remember. Yeah, that thing that says don't do this, and then I'm like, I don't know what that is, so.
I'm a little concerned that I, as a player, start with two spells that reference each other, and it sort of feels like I could be wrong, easily wrong about this, but it seems like, and pardon me if it sounds like I'm harping on the witch too much, which I easily could be, but it seems like right now I have almost the perfect deck where I have the absolute neatest possible balance between the two cards that reference each other, and they also reciprocally make each other more powerful through the rest of the game. I just don't want anything else. I just want to stay with what I got,
Yeah. That's the thing a lot of games have, which is you get in the groove with something, and then it doesn't matter what else shows up. You just want to use your old faithful,
Yes. Yeah. And some games are fine with that. For example, The Witcher, you can just cast Quen and just back off, cast Quen, and go in for attack, attack twice and then back off again. Mm-hmm. But the game is all about the story, so it doesn't really matter that the combat can be reduced down to something that's paper thin. But I feel since this is all about the deck building mechanics, at least right now, I'm a little concerned.
Well, what's interesting is that in order to make use of the flipping back and forth between the spells, you needed to create two of each. For it to be effective, but because of that, it now takes up most of the runes in your hand, and so therefore it's a thing you have to do. So it feels like the alternating works best when you devote your entire.
Come back! I don't want these. Please let me get rid of them.
We've just solved your saturated deck.
Oh, you're right. No, I had the perfect deck, and you ruined it for me, Joel. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Wait. Oh yeah, this just gives me like basically drawing a free card every. Oh, I should have melded to it. I'm dumb. We'll just not talk about this.
So that's interesting about the melding it during play and then melding permanently. I could see players getting a little frustrated by that. Is there a reason you don't meld permanently in a round? Like, is it really overpowered?
Oh, it's so big. It's so big.
Yeah.
Like what you don't want to have very many permanent bonuses during a round.
Yeah.
Now many of these games will have some of them, but it's become very well known that you don't want to have a lot of them in the middle of a combat, because what you encourage people to do is to stall, build a very defensive deck that can just sort of sit around forever and continually like improve itself during the fight. And it's also interesting to people to start like a fight in a sort of a weakened state where you need to like build yourself up, and then over the first few turns ramp up by melding stuff. I think that's the strength of this game. I wouldn't change that at all.
Okay. I think there's another case where like I would need that motivated by the theming. Like why melding in the battlefield is less effective than melding at camp later that night. Like I don't really understand it. Outside of it having a mechanical purpose. And separately, I think you're right, Lane. It's something about building yourself up in each round is fun. But I think you could scale up the difficulty of rounds of you're facing more enemies with more spells with higher hit points faster, and then that then forces players to be melding more, to be engaging with that mechanic, and it gives them the opportunity to make mistakes too, which helps them learn the mechanics better. You know, but that really does change the tone of the experience. So I think I would just need just some sort of like in-world justification for what's different about those two types of melding.
Yeah, or at least a like explanation that if you meld in the battle, it's not going to be permanent.
Yeah, and even a visual distinction, like a permanently melded thing in your hand looks like it does now, but a temporarily melded one is like held together with duct tape or something. I mean, the fantasy equivalent, you know, or just two runes kind of stacked them through like dominoes, but when they're melded, they're forged into one rune. That way, even when you're playing, you know the difference between, oh, this is one I permanently. Not that it makes that much difference, but like it gives a little bit more reality to the experience. Like these ones are going to fall apart at the end of the round. These are just going to stick together forever. And you can even call it something different. It could be join versus meld or something like that. You know.
Wow. Okay, I am like super stacked on defense here, and I'm not going to lose that this turn. Ooh, that's nice. Cool. Okay, I should have played any other character. I do sort of feel like the witch is like unique in that is the one character that I don't think is like super cool in this game. And that is purely because I feel like the two things that I started with are just like not enough energy. Okay, that's cool. I have not been convinced yet that any of the things that I could gain are better than the things that I started with. Just because I have all my problem solved, like I'm generating a ton of defense, and like I also have my ramping taken care of. Like what I mean is, if I'm up against an enemy that has like 100 health, I could eventually generate enough damage to deal with that because my I can continually make my stick plus stone better and better.
How would you feel if the two alternating spells like just balanced each other? So where if you use one, it makes the other one stronger, but makes itself weaker.
Interesting. Or even if it was just like it makes the next one you use stronger or something like that. Like I guess my concern and this is like pretty ignorant. I have not played like a ton of runs of this game, but I feel like right now the fact that it is a permanent bonus means every time I go through my deck, everything like my four powerful like melds are both going to get +2. for the rest of the fight. Like I feel like anything that I get other than those is going to dilute the really powerful thing that I can do. And so my like concern here is that like, well, and here the runes are just like things that I already have elected to like not want. Well, actually, I should check here. I need more sticks. But like other than like balancing the right number of sticks and leaves and stones, like is there really much more to life than that? Haruspex dagger. Ooh. Oh, now you're throwing me into doubt. This is really good.
Now those stones have some value.
Yeah, okay. And he made me like I do think that the events, the like ... events are super interesting. And this like crystal now has some value. But can I afford to spend my precious leaves and sticks? I don't know.
You have a lot of them.
Deal 2 damage per rune currently in your hand. Interesting.
What is that parentheses 3?
Yeah.
Weird. There must be 3 in your hand in the scene right now.
Oh, I see.
Oh, and that's meant to help you when you cast it.
Mm-hmm.
I see, but here it's.
I can upgrade this. Oh, jeez. Mix for. Oh, wait. Increase the shield value protection X by 2. I am gonna click that. That seems incredible. Oh, and this draw thing. Oh man. I mean, I feel like some like balancing concerns are just due to the fact that you're cramming so much player progression into such a small amount of space here.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so cool. It is fun though. I mean, I'm like having a very good time with this. I do like melding the things. I do think that what Mark said about like perhaps maybe you discard them, or you make it so that you can cast them for 1, or like. Or sorry, maybe meld costs 2. I don't know what's gonna be balanced there, but like I feel like something that makes you make the other decisions sometimes would be good.
I think meld costing 2 would mathematically balance things out a little better, but like I think the energy. I mean, you have 5 energy, which is a lot for your.
I mean, it's just the fact that I'm the witch. The witch starts with a lot. You're right. You're right, Mark. In other characters, that wouldn't be as appropriate.
Yeah, I just like it feels bad to spend more energy. You know, even if it gets me something good. But melding, it feels like a strategic move, and then when it discards it, it's a proactive choice you're making. So I think it's really this is an emotional argument, not really a mechanical one.
Now I'm gonna get burned here, but I have block. So what I'm wondering is like, will I actually like take damage here? That's the thing I want to know. Okay, so my block take damage. Okay, that is exactly what I was hoping for. Ooh, wait, use Misfortune Hex first. Oops. Okay, is this okay? No, it's not for free. So I just get in my turn. I should have blocked more. Oops.
Wait, couldn't you you had 1 energy left? Well, you should have just used.
Yeah, I should have blocked more.
Yeah, what's the motivation to ending your turn early? Like, I mean, carrying over your energy to the next round feels like you should be able to do that.
There really wasn't one. That was just a straight up mistake on my part there.
Oh, I understand, but I mean, when would you ever want to end your turn early?
Oh. I mean, like I could imagine there being some enemies like this guy doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Oh, vulnerable is per stack. That's interesting. But like you could imagine like if an enemy had some sort of like when you attack it, it does damage back to you type thing, then you would want to do that. I think it's situational. I think it's reasonable to say that most of the time you want to spend all your energy. I think that's just a very normal thing. It's a resource, you want to spend it. That's just
what I'm saying is when you end your turn early, you don't get to keep your energy, but you do keep the runes in your hand. Is that right?
No, you discard it all.
Okay, so really, other than avoiding a bad outcome from a thing you'd cast, there isn't really a reason you'd end. I want there to be a positive reason for me to end my turn early, something strategic. I want to get something for doing that, and maybe it's risk, but I want to have a proactive motivation to do that sometimes. Contextual, I wouldn't always do it, but and whether that's storing energy because you need a lot of energy to do this certain combination, or because I get to keep the runes in my hand and those will be more valuable next time for some reason, or for some particular reason, or because I want the rune in my hand so that my next hand is larger, so I have more meld possibilities.
Yeah, there's a lot of game design choices that were just like, well, Slay the Spire does that, so I'm gonna do it that way.
Interesting. Interesting. I like one of the things about Slay the Spire, to bring that up, since you just did. One of the things about that game is there are collectible objects in that game. Like, for example, the ice cream relic, where it does all of a sudden start rewarding you for like pressing the end turn button when you otherwise wouldn't, because you can carry over energy between turns. And so like now I do think that like there can be just some general rules, which is like I think it's perfectly acceptable if you generally want to saturate all your energy, like, and spend all of it every turn. I think that's totally fine. But like one thing that is like a distinction between this game and that game is that there are not like the relics in this game. You get like stat ups as you do in Monster Train, but you don't get the like sort of like things that diversify run to run in relics. So I wonder is like, are you planning on adding in passive effects like those?
Yeah, I mean the code is actually there to have relics.
Good.
Like some of the effects from the events are like, next battle gain three shield every turn, and that's the same system that's being used.
Nice.
So it's really just I haven't figured out the design of them, or really where you'd get them yet.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Real quick, when you discard a rune, you can click one and then you can confirm it. But when you click one, it doesn't say what that rune is. And every other time you click it, it does. I think you might want to add that, just so you could, I mean, if you play along enough, you probably know. But like, if you're like, oh, I just melded that one. What did it do again? Oh, I forget. Well, I can't learn before I choose it or not choosing it to discard.
Oh, so you want to be able to preview the spells like in the select discard screen?
Yes, yeah.
Awesome, yeah.
Oh, that prayer is so cool. That like in the next fight, gain 3 block at the start of every turn. That's fantastic. I haven't seen that sort of thing before, where you just get a reward for one fight. That's really cool. If I meld these, do I take any damage from the fire? Oh no, but this one starts being on fire. Okay.
That shouldn't still have a burn on it though.
Interesting.
I kind of think it's a good idea, because otherwise you can cheese your way out of burning. Right?
Now, Mark, I have to tell you, there is actually a reason for me to end my turn here.
Right, because those stones are useless.
I drew a bunch of crystal runes here.
Yeah.
I actually know that this is a crystal rune relatively unsaturated pile here. If I were to play one and discard one, then I would probably draw a card that I would want to play. So I'm actually going to end my turn, so I'm more likely to draw more of those.
Right, and you only had 1 energy, so it wouldn't be any useful.
You got it. Yep.
Right, so it seems like you only end your turn early to avoid a bad outcome.
Well, I mean, you're right on the money there, but yes.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, that makes it feel. That just makes me like a bummer mechanic,
Oh man, but like a lot of games have the ability to end your turn. Like at Risk, for example, you can end your turn. And I'm immediately regretting bringing up Risk because it is a very strategic choice to end your turn at Risk. So I'm just gonna shut up and keep playing here. Okay, get out of here, Rock. Yes, you. Can I play this? No. Oh. Yeah, I feel like with other characters. Yeah. I was watching Dale play, and I was like, wow, there's like A or B choices on a lot of these turns. Like, do I play for now? Do I play for later? Mm-hmm. And with which I think that at least based on what I've seen so far, it's been sort of unfortunately like a lot of turns have been down to like, what am I able to do? I'm gonna do all of those things, and that's it. Oh, I guess I do want more shields. So here I'll melt these. But I think that a big part of that comes down to the fact that she just like starts with so much energy. Why does she start with 5 energy? That just seems like kind of unusual.
It was just because of the crystal. Really?
The crystal, okay, because you have a built-in like card draw-ish mechanic here.
Yeah.
Also, it feels like your best actions are melded actions, more so than the other characters.
Sure. Yeah. If I make the crystal cost 0, I'll probably just bump it back down to 4 instead.
Oh, I'm a noob. I've melded too many of those. I'm fine. I think that Velixon Most Exemplary will fall to my mighty protection hexes, if nothing else.
I'd love to have an unmeld button that costs like twice as much.
Oh yeah,
that's a really good idea.
That is.
I mean,
you
want with a game like this, you want players to understand when they've made a bad choice, and then give them some tools to correct it. And I think unmelding would be good. And it seems like the Witch is the one where you can actually make some mistakes by what you choose to meld. The other ones doesn't seem to be a ton of ways to go wrong, but there's a little added complexity here that introduces some less strategic choices, and then to be able to correct those feels good, I think, instead of having to just suffer through the rest of this playthrough with that one mistake you made.
Ooh.
Oh, I've been cursed. My odds are low. All right. Woo! Yes, we made it. No. Skip. I probably should have clicked on one of those, but ooh, piercing damage. Are you kidding me? Versus this. Don't I already have this? Oh well, we're clicking that. That's cool. Spell to upgrade this one for sure. That's amazing. And then because we have that, we want more energy. I think because we got a bunch of crystally boys, or we could do this, or it doesn't really matter because we're gonna end the game.
Yeah.
We have a question in chat, which is: do any runes give an advantage just by being in your hand? I don't think so.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It depends on there's a beast spell that is buffed up by how many flame runes you have in your hand.
Whoa, that's cool.
Oh, but the item it's a rune is powerful by what else is in your hand. There's no passive effect from the rune itself. I mean, this is semantic now, but so sort of yes is the answer.
Yeah, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Oop.
Okay. Oh yeah, we're on crazy fast. Cool. I feel like the crazy fast could be even crazier, personally.
Yeah,
but
it actually doesn't seem that fast.
I think it was breaking some of that scheduling I was talking about earlier.
Oh yeah.
Joel, would you be down to stick around for us to play 15 minutes of the Inevitable Snowman?
The Inevitable Snowman.
Yes, we're gonna get Dale to play this on a gamepad. If you've got a controller, that would be ideal. I will send you folks a Windows build. 1 second.
Okay. We will just riff until then.
Can I?
Oh, sort of follow up on this question. Having a passive rule could create another incentive to merge or not to merge. I like that a lot. So something that you leave unmerged because it has a passive effect you don't want to get rid of.
Cool idea.
That's interesting. I mean, I think there's at a certain point you want to not have everything in the kitchen sink in your game. And so I kind of like your approach to things in your hand, that it's only about what else is in your hand. I think that's a clever system, and I think it's an argument to only treating it that way. But I do like this suggestion a lot.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a energy spark rune or something like that.
Yeah.
The Witch is calling out for an Eye of Newt rune that lets you, like, I don't know, scry other cards in your deck.
Well, what she really needs is like a curse rune that you can just trash other people's decks with.
So true. Oh my gosh, that's a cool mechanic. Like that alone. Like right now, I'm not really feeling the justification for enemies having decks. But if you can start like tampering with their decks, and like putting stuff in there that like slows them down, that's kind of justifies it. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So which version of this are we downloading?
Oh, whoa! If anybody does anything but the freshest 1.0.5, I'm gonna throw a tantrum over here.
Well, it's only important that I downloaded for now.
That is true. Unless Joel wants to like climb up the leaderboard on his own, that would be cool.
I don't know. I figured for some reason we were all downloading it, but.
Well, I mean, feel free. Bam! The Inevitable Snowman. This is a LD Jam 50 game.
Wait a minute! Didn't you make a game like this years ago in a game jam?
Shut up,
the-
Mark. Jeez.
Is this
Yeah, you're right.
is this the same thing, or is it a new version, or is it a spiritual sequel?
Well, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but like, yeah, this is like the sort of like it's weird. Like if you look at like the game that Charles McGregor has been talking about in the MSP Game Dev Slack, it looks suspiciously similar to that.
Yeah.
Although this is the only Game Jam game you'll ever see that has an unlockable hat system. So there you go.
Controller works okay for this, right?
All that, man. Yeah, controller definitely is preferred, I think.
Right.
At least the current top.
Oh wait, do I have to go against somebody?
No. It's single player. It's single player.
Okay.
And the deal is.
Okay. So I just
the Snowman. This is another game that is made with the theme of delay the inevitable. The snowman is melting. You can see the snowman's health up at the top, and you can collect snow by jumping on these platforms and by throwing snow back at the snowman.
How do I throw?
You can aim with the right analog stick.
I don't like you, Fire Cat.
Yeah, the Fire Cats are real rude. They're on the side of the sun, if you could imagine something so sinister.
I have a
Oh, by the way, you also have a double jump.
Okay. Oh
Yep.
no. Okay.
So you can aim with the right analog stick, and then the I think R2 or L2. Those both will shoot.
So 2 bits of UI feedback. One,
Yes.
when at the very beginning I selected hats, and it brought me to the hats screen. But then there was no way to get back to the main screen because there's no need to, right? Because you can just hit start. There's nothing functionally wrong with that, but it's a little confusing.
I completely agree. Yeah.
And then the other piece of information is that your font only has capital letters, which is something that's really tricky for big blocks of text.
It really is. So for example, like at the end of a round here, you'll see like a tip thing pop up.
Yeah.
The tips are like it's a big block. It's like kind of unreadable, and that is because one issue that you run into with these is that I constantly see is that like you'll pick somebody who is just like a wonderful UI artist. But like artists will think about things very differently from developers, and a lot of times like artists will prioritize things looking good so their work looks really good, but like won't prioritize readability, and that's totally what we saw here, which is like the one font that he really wanted to use was like no, you can't read it.
That's the difference between UI and UX, right?
Yes. Now the interesting thing is when we went into this game, we were like, let's make an experience that takes about 30 seconds to go through, and so that's really like what your average person will expend. Like Dale, you survive 50 seconds. That's like not bad on our leaderboard, to be honest. But the thing is like everybody survives like 30 seconds and just thinks, oh, that's a failure. Like I did terribly. Yes, you found the sofa.
I mean, oh. Oops, nope. I don't know how to aim. I'm very bad at aiming.
Yeah, it's the right analog stick. Yep.
Yeah,
you can just aim at snowball.
The little tool, the little aiming line is fairly faint as well.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Okay.
I
How
didn't
do
see
I
that.
get my name? Because I can't figure that out.
I will enter it for you.
Thank you.
DLC. Yes. You can see that you are currently 24th.
I'm 24th.
Well, you can improve. You can improve. I believe in you, Dale.
I mean, if I didn't spend so much time hanging out on the couch, maybe.
There we go. Oh yeah, and and keep in mind you can aim with the right analog stick, so you should be able to like aim at the snowman, and even feed him from further away. We kind of like cheat the aim in a little bit, so it's easier to hit the snowman from far away.
And I assume you can attack the cats on fire as well.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
How do you do that?
Just shooting.
Aim at them. Yep.
Because I tried to, what did I try to do? I tried to jump on them, or jump under them, like that they were a Mario block.
Yeah.
Did not work.
There doesn't seem to be a lot of penalty for falling in the drink. You just sort of appear right where you were going.
Yeah, you lose a little bit of your snowballs, but we didn't want to make it too punishing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like currently you lose like 30% of your snow. But like yeah, if you don't have a lot, that doesn't punish you too badly.
Yeah. I would say that you should just bring them classic platformer stuff. Just put them back where they started, and give them no penalty at all. So what you lose is time.
Yeah, I think that's totally reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
The
player just isn't motivated.
Even like putting the player back at the start would be good.
Oh yeah, that's not a bad idea. That would be really punishing, but it would still be interesting. It's just that the player doesn't learn that it's bad. You know.
True. Yeah, we definitely like get you where you probably want to go pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
There's a hat.
Get that hat.
Yes. Cool.
It's just, those cats really come up quick.
Yeah, not cool. Why? There's like an extra buff cat. And also, where am I now?
Yeah. So one big lesson that we took
64.
away from this jam is that because I think that we're probably like gonna have some like a lot of users having the same sort of like negative first time experience, which is that like you want to be like pretty cautious about quadratic elements in jam games, and this cats are definitely quadratic elements. What I mean by that is we don't ever tutorialize until you get to the end of the game in the tip system that like you can get rid of the spawners, which are these little magma crags, by stepping on them. And if you do that, you can keep the number of cats to a very reasonable level. But what most players will experience is just this game feels completely overwhelming because like the number of cats go from like 2 to like 50 really, really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a tip in the lower right that's supposed to like help out with that.
I can't read that when I'm playing.
That's why it comes up when you're not playing.
I can't read it when I'm not playing. I don't read directions, remember? Well, there's so many fish over there. Get away from that. That's mine. No, I don't have any stone left. You know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna go eat some fish. So I'll die anyway. Fish! What? Oh. Well, that's interesting. Why can't... Oh, I need to press... I'm really trying hard... Oh. I got it. It does not like it. And then boom, I'm back here.
Yeah, because you're still when you fall, you just sort of keep going. You go and collect a bunch of snowballs, then you fall in the drink 2 or 3 times on the way back, and then you kind of end up with no gain.
What?
Yeah, no, it is interesting. I mean, like this is definitely something that is like possibly why this may be a genre that is not like very appropriate for a contest like this.
Yeah.
Which is that like we sort of expect that players will like do platforming between platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense, but like, what's that?
I did not expect to do that at all. I was like, I'm a penguin.
Oh, are you playing by Parsec, Dale?
Yes.
Okay, I do think that you are maybe even like being in the same house is probably a like adding something to the difficulty here.
Well, Dale, you said you don't like 3D platformers, so.
That's true. And also, I was not expecting this to need to be a platformer. I was just expecting to be able to swim like a normal penguin. No? Not a thing? Well, look at me.
Oh yeah, you're bringing stuff to the game that the game doesn't have in it.
What? Are you saying that penguins can't swim very well?
Yeah. Yeah, I am saying that.
Well, I disagree with that, because penguins can't walk very well because they don't have very long legs. And they are excellent swimmers. I think this seems to be biology.
Yeah, very reasonable.
And some time for Mark to play.
For sure.
Well, we're at 9:30.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's time.
Yeah, thanks, Lane.
Yeah, it's good we have to squeeze this in at the very end.
For sure. Yeah, every jam game is definitely like a compromised product in the fact that like you sort of have to like, because somebody wants to draw cute penguins and you have jumping mechanics, you end up with those things put together and it doesn't really work out.
And it does not reflect the biology of penguins at all, does it?
Yeah, it definitely has some problems.
Well, thank you, Lane, very much for bringing.
For sure. All right, cool. And thanks big time to Joel. Joel, you have a technically very impressive product that works in many ways. I like envy you in a little bit in the fact that you have a really cool platform on which to iterate like very many like interesting gameplay like choices. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That warms my heart, truly.
Well, and you're always welcome back with any updates or changes you want to put through the ringer. We're here every month for you.
Awesome, yeah. I have a Discord too. I'll post it later or something on one of the channels.
We'll put it in the chat now, just so everybody watching has got it, and then you can throw it in the just general discussion in the Discord, so people in our Discord, so people can come to it later if they want.
Right.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Anything? Who was on your team, Lane, for that penguin jumping game?
Well, the important person that everybody here should know is Bit from the Nice Games Club chat, who did our audio and then also did a couple of shader things for that game. Part of why the game looks and sounds so good. And then several people who work over at Edina's own Concrete software joined me on that game.
So nice.
Yeah, it has a lot of like you can kind of see where the edges are because you only had a weekend, but like there's a lot of really good polish in it.
Yeah, I like working with Bit is always a huge pleasure because he'll just like add in a lot of cool stuff. He'll always like apologize, being like, I know I'm just a sound guy. You can throw this out if you want to, but he always makes the game really good. Like I love working with that guy.
Well, that's one of the fun things about a game jam is you get to step outside your role a little bit sometimes.
Yes,
that's a really important part of it, and being open to that when you invite others onto your team is something that everyone should do, and because you end up with just more interesting projects as a result of that.
Huge.
Yeah.
All
right, well, I guess that's it, Dale. Dale, you gonna close this out?
I sure am. Well, it's a dangerous world out there, and we're just penguins. Nothing but cute and cuddly.
So true.